Okay, ladies and gentlemen, we're resuming the afternoon session here. And due to COVID-19, Committee for Adjustment public hearings are being conducted virtually by electronic means through WebEx webinar, an online digital platform, and streamed on the Toronto City Planning YouTube channel. Participants who have registered in advance will be able to make their presentations to the committee using the WebEx webinar, which is moderated by city staff. Anyone wishing to view the hearing may do so by watching on YouTube. My name is Isaac Laluz, and with me today in the panel here is Mr. Tarodi, Mr. Hunt, Mr. Khan, and Mr. Kidd. City staff moderating the platform today are Simon, who is the manager, deputy secretary, treasurer, Alex Chu, and Mr. Bridgerad. Participants who have registered in advance will be connecting with their computer, tablet, smartphone, or tablet, or a telephone, and have the option of participating via video or audio only. All participants will automatically be muted on entry. When your item is called, each participant will be unmuted by the moderator, one person at a time. We ask that you also mute your devices until you are called on to speak. Those participating by video will be temporarily upgraded to panelists when your item is being held. During this time, your camera will be enabled. You will only be visible during your 5-minute allocated time. At all other times, your video will be disabled and you will be reinstated as an attendee. Committee for Adjustment staff will share presentations submitted in accordance with the written submission deadline. Members of the public and applicants are not allowed to use share screen or other panelist controls during a video appearance. The host will remove you from the panelist if you fail to respect this instruction. For land acknowledgement, we acknowledge the land we are meeting on is the traditional territory of many nations, including the Mississaugas of the Credit, the Anishinaabe, the Chippewa, the Haudenosaunee, and the Wendat peoples, and is now home to many diverse First Nations, Inuit, and Métis peoples. We also acknowledge that Toronto is covered by Treaty 13 with the Mississaugas of the Credit. In accordance with Section 45 and 53 of the Planning Act 1990 as amended, this meeting of the Committee of Adjustment of the City of Toronto is called to order. The Committee of Adjustment considers applications for variances from the provision of the zoning bylaw, permission to extend or alter legal non-conforming uses, and consent to sever property to create new lots. Anyone in attendance today who wants to receive a copy of the decision of the committee on an application must submit a written request by email. Please ensure that you include your name, address, and email address, because the Committee of Adjustment and the TLAB will be sending notifications and appeal updates by email only. If you do not agree with the decision of the committee, you may be able to appeal the decision to Toronto local appeal body known as TLAB, or in some limited circumstances to the Ontario Land Tribunal, OLT. However, the provincial government recently amended the Planning Act and generally removed rights of third party to appeal Committee of Adjustment decisions. As of November 28, 2022, only the applicant, the Minister of Municipal Affairs and Housing, special persons, and public bodies as termed in the Planning Act are permitted to appeal decisions of the committee. Appeal instructions are set out at the bottom of the decision of the committee. The hearings today will be as follows. I will call each item in the order listed on the agenda. Where an application is uncontested, the agent or applicant may proceed with their presentation if desired, and when the committee does not require a presentation, applicants are to advise the chair should they wish to speak to the committee. The committee may ask questions and or take the matter directly for a decision. Each speaker, including the applicant agent, will be given a 5 minutes to address the committee. I will comment when the 5-minute mark is reached. When addressing the committee, please clearly state your name and address, and please remember to confine your remarks to the matters outlined in the application. The applicant or agent will proceed first and will make a presentation. Please note that the committee may not entertain revisions to proposals at the hearing today. The committee may decide to defer the application if substantially revised to ensure the revised application is accurate and that all those entitled to notice are informed of the changes. Then individuals either in support or in opposition will be invited to speak. Committee members may ask questions of each speaker at the end of their presentation. When all speakers are finished, the applicant agent has the chance to address only those issues that were raised by the speakers. This will mark the end of the discussion, and the application will then be taken into committee for decision. Now, for this afternoon session only, any conflicts of interest to declare for this afternoon? Yeah, Mr. Hello. Okay, Mr. Kate? Mr. Kate?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Item number 22, 279 Poyntz Avenue. I'm acquainted with the agent.
Oh, you know the agent. Okay, he's acquainted with the agent, so he's going to be recusing himself. Any other one? No? And the staff? No. Okay, so the next is we have, and Mr. Deputy Secretary Treasurer, there's no files to close, eh? No. Okay, so we have here some requests for deferrals, and we're going to go to item number 21. That's the first one. First one on my list, item 21. 21, which is number 21, item number 21, which is 41 Lynn file. Let me check it. 21. LINELLE, well, is not written properly here. Either 20, 21, 21. Okay, 41 LINELLE Street, application number 21. And here we have Mr. Dan Achimovic. Are you there? Dan Achimovic.
Dan, you've been unmuted. I've also unmuted a Teal Gill, who I believe is also working on the file.
Yes, hi, thank you. Yeah, my name is Teal Gill. I'm from DA Design. Here's a representative for the owner.
Okay.
At this time, we would like.
Okay.
At this time, we would like to defer.
Okay, just for the records, could you please state your address so it can be recorded on the system? Your name and address.
Sure. 1185 Queensway Street East, Unit Suite 3A, Mississauga.
Thank you. So you're asking for deferral. What's the reason for the deferral?
We would like to defer because of multiple variances as well as negative comments. We would like to work with the planning department and take this time to redesign the garden suite. Thank you.
I see. Okay. All right. So we have here, there is 1, 2, 3, 4 in the same address. Who wants to speak? Sherry Tallis, are you there? Sherry Tallis, Ronald Martin.
Here.
Okay. Can you please state your name and address?
Sherry Tallis, 39 LINELLE Street. I'm going to be representing all the homeowners of 39 LINELLE Street, which is Ronald Martin, Valika Tallis, and Laura Tallis.
Thank you. Okay.
And myself.
Very good. So we have a request here for deferral, meaning if we defer it, we're not going to discuss it today. Do you have any problem with that?
Understood. No, understood.
Thank you. Appreciate it. So that's done. So that's the only people here for 21. Okay. So let's see what the members have to say. Members, there is a request to defer item number 21 because they want to discuss it and make changes perhaps. Any question? If not, can I have a motion to defer? Motion for deferral? Yeah, Mr. Hunt. Mr. Hunt, please go ahead.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Chair. At the request of the applicant and the acknowledgement by the other speakers, I would move to defer this application sine die to allow for further discussion with city departments.
Thank you. Second? Do I have second? Ms. Atarodi, all in favor? Okay, thank you. Okay, your application is deferred sine die, and check with the planners when it's coming back, with the staff. Okay, so 21 is deferred. Now we have the other one, which is number 22. Number 22, which is 279 POYNTZ Avenue. Sorry? Oh, no, that's different request. You're right. No. Which one is that? 21. We have 30. 30, yeah. Application number 30. Okay. 30, which is 330 Rumsey Road, application number 30. And this we have Ernie Long. Are you there? Ernie Long.
Ernie, you've been unmuted.
Yeah.
Okay.
Can you hear?
Yes, please state your name and address for us.
My name's Ernie Leong, 3555 Don Mills Road.
Thank you. You're asking for deferral. What's the reason?
Yeah, and the owner is out of the country,
And
and he wished to attend. And also, a couple points that we about the objection that we have answer for. So he wanted to do it himself. Yeah, talk to the neighbors.
for talking to the neighbors and doing himself. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, let's see what the other members are saying. Members of the community. We have Ernie Long. That's you. And Laura Sedgwick. Laura Sedgwick, are you there?
32 Rumsey.
Yes. Okay. 332 Rumsey. Okay. So can you please tell us? We have the request here for deferral, meaning if we defer it, we're not going to discuss it today. Do you have any problem with that?
Other than that, I've been on here since 1:30, but if our neighbors need to defer it because Michael is out of town, then we're quite willing to have it deferred, and we'll meet again.
Thank you.
Yeah,
Yeah,
they're
you'll be
explain.
advised when the other one comes in. You will be advised the same way you were advised today. Now we have one more person here who registered lately. Janet Tapping, are you there? Janet Tapping.
Yes,
Okay.
thank you.
Can you please state your name and address?
Okay, my name is Janet Tapping, and I'm actually representing 328 Rumsey Road. I am not the registered owner. The registered owners are my deceased parents. They have both passed away within the last 15 months. So that is why I am an executor of my mother's estate.
Okay, all we have here, we have a request for deferral. Are you okay, or do you have a problem with that?
No, I'm fine with a request for deferral.
Thank you. Thank you. Okay, members, we have a request for deferral for number 30. And do I have a question or motion? Okay, Mr. Kate.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I'd like to put forward a motion to defer this application to allow the applicant to meet with the neighbors and make that sine die.
Sine die. Thank you. Second. Mr. Khan seconding. All in favor? Okay. Okay. Thank you. Your application is deferred sine die as requested. Okay. Check with the staff when it's coming back. So that's number 30. And next one is number 39. We have a request for a request for 39, and this is 3879 Batter Street. And here we have 39. 39. We have here Mustafa Khalili. Are you there? Mustafa Khalili.
Yeah, good afternoon, Mr. Chair. My name is Mustafa Khalil.
Can you please check your system there? You must having a number of devices open because you're echoing and we cannot hear you. So can you please fix it?
Oh. Yeah, is it better now?
Go ahead, speak. We'll see if we hear you.
My name is Mustafa Khalil, 2MK Architect. Address is 3461 Dixie Road, Unit 504, Mississauga. I'm the architect for the client.
Okay. You're requesting the deferral for what reason?
Based on the report from the transportation, they requested to defer the application, and also there was a zoning notice was from last year and now became invalid because I think there's a change or a new zoning bylaw affecting our application, and we are waiting for the notice from the zoning examiner.
Oh, okay. To discuss with the examiner, and also there may be some question for changes. Okay, now let's see we have two more speakers here. Shana Krakowski, are you there? Krakowicz. Shana Krakowicz.
Yes, my name is Krakowicz.
Okay.
And I am representing.
Okay.
I am representing my father, Samuel Berkowitz of 70 Palm Drive. My father is the owner of 3877 Bathurst.
Thank you.
And we are concerned. Thank you. Can I express my concerns?
No, because if we defer it, we're not going to discuss the application today. All we entertain at the moment is deferral. So if we defer it, you'll be advised when it's coming back. Do you have any problem with that?
Okay.
Okay.
I do not have a problem with that. Thank you, sir.
Thank you. And here's Samuel Berkowitz. Are you there?
Mr. Chair, I believe
Samuel's my father.
Oh, he's the man. Okay, yeah. Okay, very good. So you spoke for him, and
Right.
And when it comes back, you'll be notified again when it's coming back. Thank you. Okay, members, we have the request for deferral for 38 to 79 Batter Street. Any question or motion? Ms. Atarodi?
Yes, through you, Mr. Chair, I would like to put forward a motion to defer the application so that the applicant can address the concern of transportation and do modification to their file. Sine die.
Sine die. Thank you. Second is Mr. Hunt. Seconding. All in favor? Okay, unanimous. Thank you. So your application is deferred as you requested, and it'll be sine die.
Thank you so much.
Okay, so that's the list of the ones that requested it. And when we come to 22, we'll entertain it then. Okay, 19, 20. Okay, we're into application number 20, 11 STRATHGOWAN, application number 20. And here we have,
Mr. Chair,
yeah,
I believe we had a request from an applicant to go earlier in this session because
oh, who's that? The, yeah. 24 and 34. Another one. Okay, and 25, what's the name? Yeah, request for early. They didn't say why, huh? Okay, let's get him on a thing. 25, okay. Mushin Muzaffari, are you there?
Yes, I am here.
Okay, you're asking to go early before all these people who are waiting as well. What's the reason that you want to go early?
Sorry, Mr. Chair, but this hearing is taking much longer than what I expected, and I should go and pick up my kids. So their school will be closed soon, so I asked to be heard earlier.
Yeah, we have a request for another 2 early. You know, everybody is waiting online, and the reason. Okay, let's see if 25.
Mr. Chair, what item we are on now?
I'm sorry.
What item we are taking now? Or talking about?
we're on item 25.
Item number 2.
Yeah, just a second. We haven't started yet. Okay, so we're just checking with the applicant who was talking to us. Now we're into application number 25. We're not sure if we do it or we don't. So let's do it. Let's do application number 25, which is 51 Berkindale, application number 25. Okay, so that is now you can okay, you stated your name and address, and here we have a new dwelling, 8 variances. Staff report is modify number 4 and built per site plan. Now transportation conditions listed in their letter of April 19. Now could you please make the changes that you want to make and tell us what changes you're making from the application?
Yes, sure. Variance number 4, the total height is reduced to 12.2. And variance number 6.
Yes.
And variance number 6 is eliminated.
Okay, number 6 eliminated, and number 4, you said I didn't get that. Could you please go slowly and tell me what your number 4 changing it to?
Yes, the total height of the proposal is reduced to 12.2.
Thank you. Okay, that's the changes you make, and okay. Transportation. Okay, so please go ahead, make a short presentation, and we notice this change. The change you made here is what it was mentioned by the staff here to 12.2, and also they're asking to build per site plan. So please go ahead and make a small presentation.
Yes, sure. Variance number 1 and 2 is about the side setback, and it's because a rare exception applies to this property, exception number 70, which requires 1.8 meter setback for a 1-story building plus 0.6 meter for any additional story. And that's exactly what we have done, and our interpretation was different because for each story we have 2 more setback on each side, and based on the interpretation that all cities and in other areas have, this works like an angular plane. So the main floor can be 6 foot, can have 6 foot distance. Then the second floor should be 2 feet away, and the third floor should have another 2 feet setback. And that's why we provided this site plan on which the outline of each floor is shown with different colors. And that's why the staff is satisfied with the proposed site setbacks. Number 3 is for the lot coverage. Number 4 is reduced to 12.2, and that's only for the portion of the pickup roof that is shown on the side elevation. If you can go to the supportive material that I have provided, on the first page, we have shown the side setbacks of each floor. On the second page, we can see the same on the 3Ds. Page 3 shows the portion of the building that is not complying, and as you see on the side elevations, there is large step backs at the front and rear. So only a small portion of the third floor exceeds the total allowed height. And variance number 8 is in regards to the width of the driveway, and we are okay with the transportation conditions. We also have provided shadow study to compare the proposal with a mass that has 3 meter setback all the way down to the ground and has 11.5 meter of height. And as you see, since we have big step backs at the front and rear, in some areas, the shadow of the proposal is even smaller than that situation.
Okay, are you done?
I would be happy. Yes, I would be happy to answer any questions.
Thank you. Okay, members, any question? We don't have anybody else to speak. Any question? Can I have a motion then? Mr. Tarodi? We don't hear you.
Yes, sorry for that.
Now it's
Through
okay.
you, Mr. Chair. Yes, through you, Mr. Chair, I would like to put forward a motion to approve this application with the following changes. Variance number 4 is the proposed height of building is now 12.2 meters. Variance number 6 eliminated, and also would like to add the city staff condition that the side yard setback be developed in accordance with the site plan drawing attached to this report. And that's the motion. I think there is no other condition.
Okay, transportation. I think there is transportation. Transportation conditions. It said listed in the letter of April 19, 2023. You don't have.
Okay, if there is a transportation, I didn't have it on in my package, or I haven't for whatever reason I haven't noted.
My notes said so. We have one, right? Well, transportation conditions listed in the letter of April 19, so it must be there. If I have it, I have it.
Okay, then if there is a transportation condition, I will attach to the decision.
Yeah, we're looking for it. We're looking for it.
Okay. If we can have it on the screen, that would be helpful.
Yeah, 27. No, there's no transportation. No?
Okay. Perfect. If there is, because I didn't note it on my list, so
No.
I didn't write any transportation
No,
condition.
it looks like there is none. There's nothing. Yeah?
Okay, then I'll just, do you want me to repeat my motion? My motion is to approve this application with the variance number 4 to be modified to be read 12.2 meter,
And number
variance
6.
number 6
Eliminated.
eliminated, no other condition.
I think you said the staff to build it according to the site plan. Didn't you say that?
Yes,
Okay.
yes, I said that too. That the condition of the staff, that side yard setback to be developed accordance with the site plan drawing attached to this report.
Thank you.
The
Second.
staff condition.
Thank you. Second, Mr. Hunt seconding. All in favor? Unanimous. Okay, thank you. Okay, your application unanimously approved, subject to the change you made there, and subject to the staff condition for to build per site plan. Okay.
Thank you so much for hearing me.
Okay. Now we have again there is a request here for number 24. Somebody has to go to a TOVE call. Let's see if this justified. Number 24, and that's Mr. 24, Mr. Benkovsky, I guess.
Hello, Mr. Chair.
Okay, Mr. Jonathan Benkovsky, you apparently requested.
Hello, Mr. Chair.
Hi, you asked the staff if we can advance yours. Could you tell us what the reason is? Because everybody is waiting anyway. So, what's the reason?
No, Mr. Chair, my matters in Etobicoke have already been heard.
Oh, so you'll follow the list. Okay, thank you. Appreciate it.
I know I'd love to still go if that's possible, but no. But my matters have been dealt with in Etobicoke.
Well, no, we like to accommodate people who have a reason. If there's no reason, the other people are waiting. Are waiting since 1 o'clock.
No, I agree, and thank you so much for entertaining this, Mr. Chair. But no, my matters have been dealt with.
Thank you. Yeah, we'll come back to you when it starts. So now we're in the application number what, 20? 20, yeah? Yeah. Okay. Application number 20, which is 11 STRATHGOWAN Crescent. Application number 20, and here we have the so we have Navid Arbabi. Are you there? Navid Arbabi?
Hi, my name is Navid Arbabi, and I'm the agent for the applicant. My address is 2017 Avenue Road, North York.
Thank you. That is for the dwelling, new dwelling, 7 variances. Staff report is asking to refuse variance number 1, and we have forestry condition 1 and 2, and we have 1 letter of objection, but we have 2 more people to speak. Therefore, we need you to make a presentation so we can hear the other people.
Okay, so I would actually like to go over a list of changes that we are making to the proposal after speaking with neighbors and planning.
Okay.
Just to make it short, variance number 1, FSI is being reduced to 0.68 times the lot area.
Sorry, 0. What?
Variance.
Yeah,
0.68.
68. Thank you. Next.
Variance number 3.
Yeah.
Is being increased to 8.42.
Thank you.
Variance number 7 is being increased to 3.36 meters.
Thank you. Those are the changes. Okay, so please proceed.
Yes.
Proceed with the presentation.
Thank you. So we've actually been in touch, the owners of the property and us have been in touch with the neighbors, and we tried to reach a resolution. Therefore, we made some modifications to the drawing to satisfy both planning and the neighbors. FSI is being proposed at 0.68%, and this is to accommodate a growing family with 3 children, and they want to have their parents who are currently in a condition that they have to be taken care of, live with them in the house. You have to note that this is a property located in an area with much larger properties. That's why the FSI is at 0.35. There are several precedents that support our application. We are proposing the dwelling through a massing that's properly deployed on site. We do not have a building length or depth variance. Our height is under the allowable height. And the front yard setback that we're proposing, variance number 2, is actually well within keeping of the neighboring properties. The only thing is number 15 STRATHGOWAN is for some reason set further back than the rest of the street. And if you take a look on the street, you would notice that that's the case. And the front yard setback is actually being measured to our porch walls, not the main building wall. The main building wall is actually 9.94 meters from the property line. Rear yard setback variance is due to the shape of the lot. So the lot is not perfectly rectangular. And we only have a very, very tiny portion of a corner on the south side of the property that is making this variance for us. Variance number 4 and 5 in regards to the setbacks. This is to allow for a house that will be suitable for the layout with a proper size garage. As you guys already know, the garage size is based on, for 1-car garage, they have to accommodate the garbage bins, some storage, and we also want to be able to maintain an appropriate layout. So we've actually we proposed a larger setback on the south side for those neighbors, and we have a smaller setback, which is a 0.9 on the north side of the property, which is well within keeping of the neighborhood. Variances number 6 and 7 are in regards to a rear deck. So these 2 variances on the original zoning, they're actually 1, but they've been separated. And this is for a deck that's only 0.2 meters above the ground. So it's more of closer to an interlocking area. So if we had proposed interlocking, we wouldn't have this variance, but the owners want to have this done with stone, and they want to have a heated patio. So we have to have a built foundation underneath it, and that's what this variance is triggered by. So we may move to hear the neighbors at this point.
That's it. Okay.
Thank you.
So thank you. So we'll see the next person, what they have to say. We have here Anne Karen or Edward Rezentic. Are you there?
Yes. Yes. Hi, Mr. Chairman and Committee. My name is Anne Caron, and I'm the homeowner of 9 STRATHGOWAN Crescent, along with my husband, Edward Rezetnik, and our property is adjacent to 11 STRATHGOWAN Crescent.
Thank you.
We think our concern, yeah.
Tell us what's your concern, and if you heard the changes.
I think our concerns are not fully addressed regarding the FSI that was most with the revised plans that you've just heard of. Those were submitted just recently. Anyway, if the second floor of this house in the back could be scaled back further, at least 4 feet, thereby reducing the FSI, it would significantly improve our enjoyment of our property. We are not opposed to a new structure being built by the new homeowners. However, in general, as this is a new build, we think the new structure proposed should be built in accordance with the lot size. If a larger structure is desired, then a larger lot size could have been purchased. After reviewing the 4 tests to determine if a variance are minor, we think the FSI variance in particular is not minor, but is insignificant in nature. Firstly, we think that the structure proposed is too large in actual measurement given the existing houses on the street when looking at the second floors. Using the proposed FSI of 68 plans, the proposed structure on the second floor is 27 feet, 8 inches longer than our north second floor and 14 feet, 6 inches longer than the north facing the second floor of the 7th STRATHGOWAN Crescent. Note both of these homes, the second floors were recently constructed and were stepped back to not impact the neighbor's backyard privacy, openness of the area, and remained within the area's accepted FSI. 11 STRATHGOWAN Crescent is 7 feet 4 inches longer than the second floor of 15 STRATHGOWAN. Note that 15 STRATHGOWAN Crescent was built with a driveway lane between the two adjacent properties to provide more openness between the homes, and was in line with the FSI of the neighborhood. The FSI is too significant in relationship to the community neighborhood, we think, to be considered minor. The structure has a large impact to our property. From our backyard and our back windows of the house, we will see a large 2-story structure mass, and this will affect our view and openness from our backyard. You can refer to the photos in the file there. 7 STRATHGOWAN Crescent was approved at a precedent-setting 65% FSI on the street for a 4-bedroom plus a nanny suite home on the street, was built on a smaller lot. The proposed structure at 11 STRATHGOWAN will require a new FSI precedent and is 30% larger square foot than the home that I just mentioned on 7 STRATHGOWAN. Variances that we noticed in the application, they show some in the new application here that we don't think they're comparable. They put 11 St. Leonard's Avenue. The owners at that location were tearing down, instead of tearing down a 100-year-old home, they built an addition, and the oddly shaped property has 5 property lines, and the renovation was not opposed by the neighbors. The property is on the other side of Mount Pleasant and is about 1 kilometer away. The Stibbert properties and the STRATHGOWAN Crescent Avenue properties that were mentioned are not within Lawrence Park, as they are on the other side of the South Ravine boundary. Of note, the Stibbert properties are much narrower lots and have semi-detached homes on that street, and the STRATHGOWAN Avenue property includes a basement space floor area as part of as the front of the house, and is on a ravine. So that's why that was higher. Secondly, regarding the second test, the granting of the variance, we think, would not be desirable for the development of the applicant's land. We think the new structure does not adhere to the existing pattern of development and accepted planning principles of the street or area of Lawrence Park. With such a large FSI variance, almost doubling the zoning requirements in the area, the garden and green space and the openness of the area has been compromised. This substantially larger FSI unduly sets a high precedent for the area and could then encourage other developers to request larger variances, which will impact the current pattern of development in the area. The highest precedent on the street in area in recent years with similar properties is at 65 FSI. Anyway, thirdly, the variance requested does not maintain the general intent and purpose of the zoning bylaw. We think the proposed structure is not in scale and spacing in the neighborhood, and therefore detrimental to the neighborhood's character. Lastly, the variance does not maintain the general intent and purpose of the official plan. We understand that the official plan of Toronto includes a requirement that new developments respect the character of existing neighborhoods. We think the extreme size of the building relative to the lot is not in keeping with the intent of the character of the neighborhood, ensures gardens and open spaces. In concluding remarks, we've spoken to the owners of 11 STRATHGOWAN Crescent and have expressed our concerns. They've agreed to have frosted glass on the second floor, south-facing windows to address our private concerns of our north-facing existing bedroom windows as a result of the side variance. We request that the proposed house second floor be pulled back at least another 4 feet, reducing the appearance of the wall projecting past our house and backyard, which would bring the house to around 65 FSI. President, which was that other one on 7 STRATHGOWAN.
Okay, I ask you to finish, please. You finish your...
Yeah, 7 STRATHGOWAN, by the way, has an objection as well. It was in the file. You should notice that because it was put in, and I think your administrator was unable. It should be in there right now. So there's 2 objections.
Okay, we have other speakers here, and we ask you to please, if there's any question for the speaker? No. Okay, next is Sam Hardy. Are you there? Sam Hardy. Is he around?
Sam, if you could please refrain from pressing the unmute button, staff will unmute you to speak, and you have just been unmuted.
Can you hear me, Mr. Chairman?
Yeah, good afternoon. Please state your name and address, please.
Samuel Hardy, 25 STRATHGOWAN Crescent. I live in this house with my family and my wife. We co-own the house.
Thank you.
And really appreciate the opportunity to speak today. Thank you, committee members.
Okay, so tell us.
I'm objecting basically the first 2 proposals. The FSI is precedent setting at revised number at 68 is setting new boundaries in this neighborhood and not in accordance with current developments, and kind of against the character of the neighborhood. I also object to the variance request for the front yard setback. This street is curved with sort of undulating topography, and if you agree to this variance, you're kind of setting a very bad precedent, which each house subsequently will be stepping towards the street and removing more and more green space, which as you see from the proposal, there's a lack of green space or soft space with this property. They're asking to overbuild on the lot. So those are my two main objections. Thank you for hearing me out today.
Okay, thank you. We'll see if there's any question. Any question for the speaker? No? Okay, so we'll have the agent come back and address his concerns, okay? So, okay, so Mr. Bobby, are you coming back?
Yes. So I'm just going to quickly go over the concerns. So as you guys already heard, we've actually had the owners had a few meetings with the owners of 9, and we actually had a meeting with them as well, where we proposed some changes to the drawings. And so at the meeting, they were kind of leaning towards agreeing with everything, but then they changed their mind afterwards. But at this point, that the changes that we've made are significant. So keep in mind that we have set back our main floor and second floor at the back. Our building length currently on the main floor is 15.65 meters, whereas the allowable is 17. On the second floor, we step back by about 4 feet to 14.49 meters. Some of the numbers mentioned are a bit misleading because we are not longer by 27 feet. It's just the actual physical structure is 15.65 on the main floor, 14.49 on the second floor. Our livable FSI is actually 65%, but due to the zoning restrictions, number one is the new zoning does not allow for a garage that's wider than the allowable. So, but you guys understand that you need to have more storage space in your garage to at least have the garbage bin stored inside rather than outside. So we are proposing a slightly wider garage. That portion is being calculated in the FSI. Our front porch is actually being calculated in the FSI because we have walls on the sides of it. We are significantly lower than the allowable height in the neighborhood, where it allows for 11 meters. We are proposing far less with dormer windows to try to fit in with the existing fabric of the neighborhood. We have a very large school in the front, a school in the back, and we are just trying to make this property work within the fabric of the neighborhood. And number 7, which was actually approved many years ago, about a decade ago, for 65, it was a 65%. It was a 65% GFI, which was calculated very differently than FSI. And this is we've actually talked to planning about this as well, and they understand our perspectives. So you have to understand that the physical shape of this building is not large. Yes, the number for the FSI might be higher than the rest of the neighborhood. If the lot was slightly larger or the back of the lot was actually straight proportionately to the width of the lot, the number would have been significantly less. But when you're making your decision, please consider the physical shape, size, and the livable area of this house.
Okay.
And if I was to tell you, we can go ahead and reduce the FSI to 65, then the livable would be actually 62%.
Okay, so are you changing the 68 you said originally?
Yes.
So you want to change it to how much? 0.61.
I'm not changing. I'm just
no.
It's the livable. I'm just explaining that the livable is actually 65%, whereas the FSI on the zoning would be 68% due to the reason.
As far as the application, number 1, you're changing it to 0.68, right?
Correct.
Okay.
Yes.
So let's see what the members have to say. Members, any question?
Mr. Chair, I would appreciate to know.
Excuse me, Mr. Mr. Hunt had his hand, Mr. Kidd has his hand up. Mr. Kidd, did you have a question?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. My question was with regard to the variance number 1. I realize you made a small reduction in the FSI. Was that a result of speaking with planning staff? Do you have any discussion with them? Because
Oh, yes, it was
still
actually,
concerns
yes.
me. Yeah.
Yes, with communication with city staff and the neighbors. It was both.
Yeah.
And did the city staff agree to the 0.68?
We do not have an agreement with them yet because of the short time. So as you know, they need an allocated time to be able to review the application. Unfortunately, they were not able to get back to us in time.
Yeah, I'd be quite hesitant to approve that variance. Just on your report of the discussion, would you consider deferring this application until you came to a formal agreement with the planning staff?
Given the circumstances of the owners and their parents' needs, I'm willing to further reduce it to 0.65 as the neighbors also mentioned. That's the best we can do at this point, but a deferral would significantly impact the family's needs at this point.
Okay, so the deferral, he's not asking for it, and number 1 is changing to 0.65. And Mr. Kidd, did you finish your question?
Yes, I did. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you. Now, Mr. Khan, you had your hands up. Mr. Khan.
Yes, Mr. Chair. Thank you, sir. Sir, I got 2 modifications. Variance number 1 has been recently modified to 0.65. I got that one. And variance number 3 was modified to 8.42.
Yes.
But there was a third one which I couldn't get.
Number 7, he's changing it to 3.36.
Thank you, sir.
Okay. Any other question?
No, sir, I have no question.
Okay. Huh?
I thought variance 1 was 0.68.
No, he changed it again to
265?
Yeah.
Correct.
Yeah. Okay. Any other question? If not, can I have a motion then, please? Mr. Khan, yeah. Please go ahead.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. After modifying 3 variances out of 7, should I repeat them, sir, or should I carry on my words?
I'm sorry, I don't understand.
Mr. Chair, through you.
Do you have another question, or you want
okay,
to go for
sir.
a motion? Do you have another question?
Okay, sir. Thank you.
Do you have another
No, sir. I'm making a motion.
Oh, okay.
After modifying variance number 1 to 0.65 and modifying variance number 3 to 8.42 and variance number 7 to 3.36 meters. I find them as acceptable modification, and therefore I move that this application be approved with forestry conditions.
Forestry, yeah, forestry 1 and 2. Thank you. Second?
Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Second? There's no second? Okay, so your the motion failed. Do I have another motion then? Another motion? Yeah, Mr. Okay, Mr. Cates.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. My concern is still with variance number 1, and I think that should have been worked out with city planning, and I'm going to put forward a motion to refuse the application as requested by city staff in their planning report.
Do you have a second?
Yeah, I'm sorry. I have to change that.
You said you want to refuse the application.
I'd like to put forward another motion if I could,
Okay.
Mr. Chair.
Okay.
I'd like to approve the application, but refuse variance number 1 and make it subject to forestry condition 1 and 2.
Okay. So the motion is to approve the application with the refusal of number 1 and forestry condition 1 and 2. Do I have a second?
So just a friendly amendment, are you also accepting the modification that the applicant did for variance number 3 and 7?
Yeah, that's one.
Well, I think it's kind of a moot point. I can't imagine how this can go ahead if we refuse variance number 1. But yes, let's keep the revisions to variance number 3 and number 7 that have they've all already been read into the record.
Yeah, he made the change to the 3 and 7.
Yeah.
And Ms. Satarodi said friendly amendment, but that was a question, right? Question. Well, he changed it to 3. The 3 was changed to 8.42 and 7 was 0.336. And Mr. Kate had a motion to refuse number 1. That's his motion. Now, do I have a second for the motion? Ms. Satarodi seconding.
I'll second.
All in favor? All in favor? No? There's no favoring. Okay. Opposed? Okay, opposed is 2. Okay, I guess we're going to have to move on with this application. The applicant will have to go back and discuss 65. In my opinion, the 35 is very low, and in the 60s we have seen it many times. So yeah, so I think I'll vote with the refusal, with the 2 refused, and I need another motion perhaps to change number 1, because to refuse number 1 completely is unreasonable. The staff said refuse number 1 because it was what they're asking for, but the change maybe should be something different, but not refuse it completely. So do I have another motion? Can anyone work out a motion? Ms. Satarodi?
So my motion, to you, Mr. Chair, I would like to put more motion to defer this application sine die so that the applicant have time to modify and revise the drawings to satisfy city staff and also address the concern of neighbors.
Okay, do I have a second for that? Mr. Hunt seconding, all in favor? Okay, unanimously to defer the application for the applicant to go and check with the staff and revise the application as they will decide. Okay? So that's your application.
Thank you.
Okay, that's better than removing the totally number 1, because it's you'll have to discuss it with the staff. Okay, so number 20 is gone. Now we're to number 22. Number 22, which is 279 POYNTZ Avenue. And here we have 22. 22 is Mr. Higgins. Mr. Peter Higgins, can you come up here, please?
Peter Higgins.
Yeah, could you please state your name and address for the records so it can be recorded on the system?
Most certainly, Mr. Chairman. This is Peter Higgins of Peter Higgins Architects Incorporated, and my office is at 69 Douglas Drive, Toronto, Mary 4W2 Bob 2.
Thank you. As I understand, you were asking for a deferral?
No, no, sir, I am not.
Oh,
The
councillor,
counselor
No,
was
the
asking,
yeah,
the
right.
counselor was suggesting a deferral.
Yeah, okay, well, when we have a deferral request from anybody, we entertain it. Whether we do it or not, it's
I understand.
yeah, we have to entertain it. So the councillor is asking for deferral, and we have to see if it takes members. I don't see them. Yeah, it takes time to get off that list. Okay, thank you. Okay, members, there is a request from the councillor to defer. Any comment or motion? Ms. Attarodi, you're shaking your head. What that means? Okay, Mr. Hunt, you had your hand. What do you want to say?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I'd like to know if through the agent, whether or not the neighbors who have objected to this had an opportunity or were advised of the undated letter from the applicant regarding the need for disability considerations applicable to lot coverage. And if he knows the date of that letter to the committee.
Well, thank you, Mr. Hunt, if I may speak. Peter Higgins here. I'm not aware of the letter's date, although it was in the last 3 to 4 weeks. We had discussed that with our clients, and as is our normal way of working, we had our clients hand deliver packages to 17 households, all of the immediate houses, 3 abreast on either side, 5 across and 5 behind, that kind of layout. And of them, there are 9, including all immediate neighbors, that have submitted letters of support. Now, part of this is because my clients are so well known in their neighborhood that they were able to secure those letters of support. The letter you're referring to was sent, and it's in the committee's hands. It was sent also to the planning department as well as the counselor. Now, the counselor we started working with over 3 months ago, perhaps even 5 months ago. And we were told as recently as March 24th, in a reply to our continued request to try to work out something with the counselor, we had lowered our percentage coverage, and it wasn't good enough for the counselor, even though the counselor said, we would like you to work with the planning department for a slight reduction. So if we were at 37.11% and we got down to 35.75%, and now we're at a slightly lower number, 34.98%, I just don't see how that isn't a sufficient reduction where the counselor has clearly said a slight reduction. I can't state it enough that we feel like we've had the goalposts moved on us a number of times in this presentation to the counselor. I know that the previous counselor was hard fast on 32%. If you went beyond that, you were going to the OMB or TLAB, which I thought was not a good use of taxpayers' dollars, because sometimes there's a reason for going over the magic number of 32% when 30% is allowed. And I would just refer very briefly to the last.
Excuse me, Mr. Higgins.
I beg your pardon.
If we decide not to defer it, we're going to discuss it. Now we're going to be discussing all the way through. So let's concentrate on the deferral. Members, there is a request for deferral from a councillor who asked to defer it. Now we have the application in front of us. Do we defer it, yes or no? If we say no, we entertain the application. So can I have a motion on the deferral, yes or no? Yes, yeah. Mr. Hunt.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I'm sort of being pulled in two directions here. I can't. I don't know the reason for the Councillor Cheng's deferral request.
That's it.
But yeah, and I think that given the position of the planning department and so on, and the considerations from the applicant, I'm going to move that this be deferred. So in order for the planning department to be, it can be discussed with them, the reasons behind the request for additional FSI and or lot coverage.
Your motion is to defer.
Anyway.
Your motion is to defer, right?
Defer.
Okay.
Yeah, I was
do I have
just giving you the reasons for the deferral.
Okay, do I have a second for that? There is no second. Its motion failed. So, so the decision not to defer. So we'll have to entertain the question. We don't have to take another motion, eh? No. So okay. So there is no Mr. Higgins. The reason
yes, sir.
The motion for the deferral has been denied. Therefore, we'll go ahead with the application. There is no other person here listed except you. So please make sure to stay within your 5 minutes and give us the merits of the application.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Through you, I'd like to note that my clients, Melody Eng and Caleb Tung, with their 3 children, have lived in this house for 7+ years. They've built up relationships with the neighbors and parks. They have roots, and I mean that strongly, in this West Lansing neighborhood. And as a result, our clients have secured 9 letters of support after hand delivering 17 of them. 3 of those houses were vacant, so they weren't able to get anybody to answer. But that's substantial considering they're all within 120 feet of this property. They're not friends and neighbors from blocks away. These are all people who know Melody and Caleb. This is important, within 120 feet or less. They want to stay in the neighborhood and they want to build a new home for the future. Now, the future for this family is a little difficult. Their husband and father, Caleb, has a deteriorating health condition that prevents him from climbing stairs and walking any major distances. When I met Caleb and Melody about 8 months ago, he was suffering aches and pains. He was very slow. Now he can't come down the stairs many days and has to live upstairs for days at a time. He now uses a walker, so his mobility is quickly declining. This situation is what requires us to seek what I consider to be a very small amount of additional coverage. And this is all for the extra large garage that will accommodate a larger van for wheelchair accessibility, for the maneuverability getting out of that and getting into that van and into the house, maneuverability also within the main floor for wheelchair living, a fully accessible bathroom, and an elevator. It is these elements that cause us to seek coverage that is slightly greater than the so-called maximum threshold of 32%. Having this additional coverage allows for the extremely important extra space that allows living and working on the main floor as well as the elevator. Let's discuss the coverage. I mentioned it a little bit earlier, but we've been dealing with a counselor for many, many, many months. As recently as March 24th, her assistant, Saham Abdi, said the counselor would like us to work with the city planning to slightly reduce the lot coverage. We did just that, and we reduced the main floor and the garage space. We could not shrink the accessible bathroom. We also reduced the amenity space. We went down from 37.11 to 35.75. The counselor responded with a request to the C of A that the hearing be deferred or to reduce the coverage to 32%. This seems to be basically echoing what the former counselor always suggested. We've waited over 3 months only to be back at the 32%. This will not work for Caleb and his family. As a final approach, we have further reduced the, lost my page, sorry, the calculation to just over 34%, 34 points, I beg your pardon.
Excuse me, 34 to how much? 34 point what?
I'm very sorry. I've waited 3 hours and now I've lost my spot. Here I am. We've reduced down to 35.75, and we are prepared to reach down to 34.98%. We cannot go an inch lower. It won't allow this family to live as they want to live in the neighborhood that they love and they've lived in for many years. We were pretty shocked at the counselor's reply because we've been doing exactly what she suggested. We reached out to planning, just so you know, at least 4 months ago. We knew this could be an issue because of the so-called magical 32% maximum. And we wanted to let them know ahead of time that we couldn't meet that requirement because of the garage, the elevator, the accessible bathroom, etc. So where does this leave us? Well, I would say that having 9 letters of support, all within 120 feet from good neighbors who want this family to remain, is important for you to understand. You should also know that there are no privacy issues. Many of the new houses that are built have a raised main floor that goes above the garage. That means that the deck at the back is at least 8 to 9 feet above grade, which causes overlook and privacy issues for many neighbors. We don't have that because we have a house that's 2.5 feet on the main floor above grade, so it minimizes the chairlift that will allow the access from the garage to the main floor. We don't have that privacy concern that you have in so many applications. We don't have any height variance. We have a height variance, excuse me, a wall height that is 18 inches below the allowable.
Sir,
Thank you.
Yeah, you finished your 5 minutes, and you'll be talking again because we might have some questions. Now,
thank you.
Now your final change is 34.98. Is that correct?
That is correct, sir.
Okay. Now, just to let you know, the counselor said 32. In this ward, it has always been 32. Sometimes 32.1, 32.2. And we still requested to 32 in this particular word. However, what you explained here, in my view, that's because of the garage that's required for the handicap and all that stuff. I'll see what the members going along with this particular one, even though we'll keep the 32% in the other areas. So let's see any questions.
Mr. Chairman, through you, may I just make a very quick comment on your comment, because I think it's important. We've done our research on what's been approved in the neighborhood, and they've been approved from 34.5% up to 39.86%. Now, the only one that doesn't include an accessory garage or a separate garage is one that's at 34.5%. We're suggesting that we're basically right at that same point. Now, what is the difference between coverage that goes all the way up to 39.86, but it's allowed with no appeal by the former counselor, and possibly by the new counselor, because it's a garage? It's still coverage. Okay. We don't have a height variance. We don't have anything that would create a scale and a massing that would upset anyone. We just need a little extra ground floor space.
All right, we got you, and I I don't have anything on that word. That's 30, 39, but 35. But anyways, let's see what the members are saying. So the latest change he made is 34.98. So any questions? Mr. Tarodi?
Yes, through you, Mr. Chair. I would like to ask Mr. Higgins regarding the east and west side yard setback of 1.2 versus 1.8. Is that also to accommodate the accessibility design, or what's the reason for that?
Thank you, Ms. Rowdy West. Yes, it is exactly that, because we have a wider than normal garage and we have to count all of that area. And of course, in North York, you can't, as per the early architect or designers who is commenting that they have a larger garage and they have to count it all. In North York, you have to count it all anyway in coverage. So that's part of it. And then on the other side of the house, we have rooms that are being bumped around for an accessible washroom and an elevator. And so, yes, this little extra bit of width is extremely important. And you should know that the extra width is between about a third and less than a half of the whole length of the house. And reminding you that we don't have a length variance and we don't have a depth variance. In fact, we're 8 feet shorter than we could be in terms of the depth, and we are 5 feet shorter than, no, sorry, excuse me, 2 feet shorter than we could be for the length. Yes, we do have a small side yard setback, but it's only for a small portion of the building to make this work.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Any other question? If not, can I have a motion then, please? Mr. Khan. Mr. Khan.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. There are 3 variances in front of us. Variance number 2 has been modified to 34.98. With this, I find that this application comes with Mr. Higgins' presentation. I'm convinced that this application should be approved with forestry conditions.
That's all there is, forestry. Okay, thank you. Second?
Thank you, sir.
Mr. Hunt is seconding. All in favor? Okay, unanimous. Okay, sir, your application is unanimously approved based on the change you made to 34.98 and forestry condition number 3.
I am thrilled, and I know my clients and their family, 3 children, are very thrilled, so they can still have their dad at their home. Thank you. Thank you. Bye.
Okay. What's that? 4:30, maybe a small break. Yeah? Members, small break of 10 minutes, okay? Mr. Tarodi, a small break of 10 minutes. I know you like it.
Okay, perfect. See you in 10 minutes.
Members, if you could please turn on your camera if you're back.
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, we're resuming the session here. And we have application number 23, which is 61 Yorkminster. Application 23. 61 Yorkminster. And we have here Xiaoyi Cheng. Are you there? Xiaoyi Cheng.
Yes,
Okay, can you please state your name?
I'm the agent for.
Yeah, your name and address, please.
Hi, Mr. Chair. My name is Xiaowei Chen. My address is 70 Northern Crescent, Toronto. I am the agent for 61 Yorkminster Road on behalf of the owner.
Perfect. Just hold 1 second, please. So we have here, this is to convert, a porch to enclosed addition. 4 variances, there is nothing, absolutely nothing. Members, do we need a presentation here? No. Okay, we don't need the presentation, sir. And do you want to add something before we move to committee?
No, thanks.
Thank you. Okay, members, question or motion? Yeah, Mr. Khan, please go ahead.
Sir, I'm ready for motion.
Sorry? Go ahead.
I can make a motion.
Please, go ahead.
Thank you, sir. Through you, there are 4 variances in front of us, and all are minor. Therefore, I move this application be approved.
Okay, I have no condition. Second, Mr.
No condition, sir.
Yeah, Mr. Hunt seconding. All in favor? Okay. Sir, your application is approved. Okay? And there is no condition.
Thank you so much.
Okay, have a nice day.
Thank you. Bye.
Tw 24, which is 430 Manor Drive, Manor Road, application number 24, and this is Mr. Benkovsky. Are you there?
Jonathan, you've been unmuted.
I'm here, Mr. Chair.
Okay, so please, I know who you are. Just state your name so it can be recorded on the system, please, with the address.
Yes, Jonathan Benskowski, 301 Keewatin Avenue.
Thank you. Okay, you have number 24, which is 430 Manor Road. And this is a new dwelling, 4 variances. Transportation, refuse parking space. Okay, and staff report modify variance 4 to per applicant. You modified number 4. We're going to get it from you, and 1 letter of objection, and forestry condition number 1. So could you please start by telling us the change you make, which is the variance number and what you're changing it to?
Yeah, so variance number 1, we are altering to be 0.73.
Okay. Next.
Okay. That's it, Mr. Chair.
That's it.
And I will review the issue with the eaves through a brief presentation.
Okay. Staff report, yeah, okay. Staff report, they requested variance number 4, eh? But
Correct. So, Mr. Chair, we altered variance number 1 in discussion with the neighbor to the east. I believe their solicitors online. I'm hoping that they are in agreement. It is under my understanding that they are. Any approval that might be granted today, I would wish to be tied to the plans that were submitted that are reflected in the 0.73 FSI that is before you today. They have been date stamped by staff, and those are reflective of my conversations with the neighbor to the east.
Yeah, I understand. You're changing number 1 to 7.73.
Correct.
In the staff report, it said modify number 4 from 0.41 to 0.25. It said that you wanted that. You're changing your mind, or you want it?
I have not offered that to staff, Mr. Chair.
That's what I have in my record. Okay, so let's Please go ahead, make a presentation because we have somebody to speak here.
Yes, and again, I believe that is the neighbor solicitor who is okay with the alterations and is no longer in objection.
Okay.
To deal with the transportation report itself, I believe there's a little bit of confusion. The proposal involves parking the parking spot entirely within the property itself. We will not be applying for a boulevard parking spot. So I don't believe the transportation, yes, here it is. I don't believe this is applicable because we won't be applying for a front yard parking application. If we were to go to the site plan, we would find that the parking space proposed is 5.6 meters in length, which is the requirement for the length. Yes, if we just continue down, it's actually, we can blow it up on the next one, which will have.
Excuse me, you keep
Sorry,
saying,
one more.
you keep saying transportation. This is not transportation, it's a staff report made in April 27, 1923, modify number 4 from point 41 to point 25. It says per applicant.
Mr. Chair, I have the transportation report up on the screen.
What's that?
It's on the screen.
Mr. Chair, the transportation report was on the screen. That's why I was addressing the transportation report.
The transportation report, yeah, but the staff report is different on that one.
Yes, sir. Mr. Chair, I'll address the issue with.
Okay, you know what? Why don't you continue make your presentation?
Okay, sir. Yeah. So I just believe this transportation staff report is incorrect in that we won't be applying for a boulevard spot.
Okay.
The parking spot is to be wholly on the property. In terms of the eaves, Mr. Chair, we have an issue with that reduction of the eaves. The required setback for the subject property is only 0.45 meters if there are no openings on that side. This relates to the west side of the dwelling. If we take the 0.45 meters, which we are permitted to be at, which is where we're proposed at, and we take the standard kind of 0.3 meter soffit and eaves, it's just simply not possible to get to the 0.25. That would essentially mean we would have an overhang of 4 inches and 4 inches. That's really not possible or aesthetically pleasing if we look at the function of the roof and how the overhang would be. The next thing I would say is although this is a new house, the existing dwelling essentially sits in the same spot we are proposing. So those eaves exist at where they are today, again, albeit on the existing house without any issue. So in terms of the compliance with the eaves, it's actually almost impossible when a 0.45 meter is the required side yard setback, and you're permitted to be no closer than 0.3 meters to that side lot line. It's just really not possible to do that based upon the zoning bylaw. So I've addressed the eave overhang. In terms of the depth, the actual length of the building is 18 meters. And I think as we see in the letter from the neighbor, there really is no concern with the depth. There is a right-of-way between the two dwellings that creates some of a buffer. Correct, there is some buffer there. As we also see, these are newly developed dwellings, both on the east and the west side of the property. And really, that kind of sums up my presentation. Again, we worked with planning on some other issues. I just don't believe it's feasible to reduce the eaves and kind of have that overhang that really doesn't allow for a proper roof structure being 0.15 meters.
Okay. All right. I believe I'm not that smart enough to understand questions that are simpler than this. If that is not possible, why did you agree with the staff to change it? It said right here, as agreed by the applicant, modify number 4 from 2.25. As agreed upon by the applicant. Is that wrong? Or you change your mind?
Mr. Chair, I didn't agree to it. If it's really a must for the committee, I'm happy to go to the 0.25. I don't remember agreeing to a 0.25. As you know, Mr. Chair, I'm before you quite often. I'm hesitant to say I agreed to this, but if it does please the committee, I can reduce it again. It's just going to be an odd roof.
Beside the committee, which we're going to be entertaining. What I'm saying here is that you said it's impossible, and here it says it's agreed by the applicant. They probably made a mistake here by saying as agreed by the applicant.
Well, we did increase it.
No, as agreed upon. That's what they said. So you didn't.
Yeah, again,
you didn't agree. That's okay. That's all right. So let's move on. The next one is Dori Gretti. Are you there? Dori Gretti.
Dory, you've been unmuted.
Okay, thank you, committee. I understood our legal counsel was also going to speak. Is he speaking after me or before me?
Could you please tell us your name and your address, please? State it for the record.
My name is Dori Griatti.
Okay.
And I live at 432 Manor Road East.
Thank you. So tell us what's your concern here.
Well, first of all, I was going with what was actually submitted. So this confusion around the 0.25 and who agreed or didn't agree, it's a bit difficult to understand where that's headed. This application has been in flux since we were only consulted or started to be consulted last Monday. So it's been, to say the least, a bit little opportunity to provide to think about what's going on clearly and then prepare any submission to this committee. So on the first front, we also, Mr. Chair, also believed and understood that there was agreement that the eaves would project only 0.25. So I don't know where that's going. With regard to the front parking, again, we read the transportation's response, and there is no parking in the front of the property right now. So I understand that there is a separate application process that does need to be completed in order to obtain the front yard parking. Myself and my husband, we jointly own the property. We're currently working through some legal issues as it relates to the new projections that are being presented in the plans, to the extent that they've been fully disclosed in the plans, because they do project over, into, and on the actual right-of-way that we have onto 430 Manor Road East.
Okay. That's it?
Yep, that's it. Thank you.
Thank you. Just a second, see if the members have any question. Any question for the speaker? No? Okay. Thank you. We'll have the agent come back after and address our concerns, okay? So, next one is Haifeng Ricky Leo.
Mr. Chair, I've been advised that Ricky will not be speaking at today's
Thank
hearing.
you. Michael Cook, are you there? Michael Cook.
Michael, you've been unmuted.
I'm here. Can you hear me?
Thank you. You state your name and address, please.
My name is Michael Cook, and I'm a lawyer at Davies Howe, 425 Adelaide Street West.
Thank you. So tell us, please, what's the concern?
So I'm counsel to the owners of 432 Manor Road East, who you've heard from, which is immediately adjacent to the east of the subject site. You will have seen correspondence on the record from my firm dated April 20th, setting out my client's objections to the proposal. I'm here today only to advise that we were no longer opposed to the application. Since the time of our written submissions, there have been discussions between the parties. A clarification with respect to what relief is required and what is being sought has been provided. Modifications to the proposed dwelling have been made, and the applicant has agreed to request, as they did, that any approval be tied to the submitted plans. Accordingly, subject to resolving some property boundary issues involving the existence of a right-of-way between the properties into which the proposed dwelling will intrude, we are not opposed to the granting of the minor variances requested on the condition that the approval is tied to the submitted plans. I will just also echo my client's comment about the eaves. We were under the understanding that they had been reduced. I'm not quite sure if what exactly is being requested now, but my question is whether or not they're being reduced on the east side. I'd just like some clarification there. With respect to the front yard parking requirement, I will defer to the applicant to explain what's required. I would only note that in our letter of objection we advised that some soft landscaping, which was being installed to the east of the proposed parking pad, was in fact over the right-of-way. And so without the installation of that soft landscaping, I think there would be a variance for soft landscaping required if my client relinquishes its objections to the installation of that soft landscaping over the existing right-of-way. That issue would go away. Subject to any additional questions, those are my submissions.
Thank you. We'll have the agents come and explain and answer all those questions. Any question for the speaker? No? Okay. Next speaker is Mario Anichini, or Anikini, whatever. Mario, are you there?
Okay. Yes, hi. It's Mario Anichini. I live at 353 Cleveland Street.
Thank you.
I also own the property to two houses to the east of the subject property.
That's okay. Just tell us, please, what's your concern about this application here?
Well, I was concerned about number 4 and number 6. You know, I see that the city approved it, and it sounds like the other neighbors don't seem too concerned about it. But I thought that it would be better if the property was kept to the standards that the city required, like the 0.6 versus in the 17 meters respectively. I also was a bit confused because, you know, I lived there for 10 years. I've lived in the community 22 years. I was surprised that that's a mutual drive, and I have other friends with properties very similar to that have had new properties built next door to them, but they've kept the mutual drive and worked within the footprint that they had instead of, you know, like breaking the driveway up. In a selfish way for me, I'm good friends with the neighbor on the other side. If I ever needed any big piece of equipment or something to come through the back, it was nice to have those extra 3 or 4 feet, you know, to get into the backyard. So those are my 3 objections.
Okay, thank you. We'll have the agent respond to all the concerns. Any question for the speaker? Okay, so let's call back the agent. Mr. Jonathan, could you please come back and address the concerns you heard?
Yeah, can we just go down one page from here? I think that will properly convey the parking situation. Yes, please. Yeah, keep going. And if we could zoom in on the parking pad. So that parking pad, I don't believe that is the correct set of plans. Could you look at the ones that were date stamped? The revised set I set in with mine, date stamped April 26th, although I don't believe those are the ones April 26th. They were revised. Yes, I believe it's these ones. Nope, it's not. It's not. Keep going, please. Keep going, because we don't have the overhang. That was part of the issue we hope to have resolved with the neighbor.
Staff are currently pulling up the plans.
Thank you. So just to reiterate the parking issue, this parking is proposed to be wholly on the site. There is no request for a front pad.
Right.
I believe this is it. Is this correct? There we go. See, we have 5.6 meters. The intention is for the parking to be wholly on the site. There is no request for a boulevard parking spot. I believe that may have been some confusion that happened with transportation, but we do not request a boulevard spot. We are entirely within the property limits itself. In terms of the confusion with the eaves, the request for the eaves is on the west side. The request for the eaves is not on the east side. Dory and Mr. Cook are relating to the property to the east. Mm-hmm. The request for the eaves is to the west. Now, Mr. Chair, because there was some confusion, I'm happy to modify variance number 4 to go to 0.25. And so the variance will read, the proposed eaves on the west side main wall will project 0.25 and 0.21 meters from the west property line. Again, that's not relating to the individuals who spoke to the east, but I guess there is some confusion related to that. In terms of the access of the right-of-way, there is no construction being proposed at grade on the right-of-way. The only projection going over the right-of-way today will be the eaves on the second floor. I've been involved in numerous applications of this. If we would just continue down. Just to maybe the front elevation. Maybe one more. Perfect. Yeah, there is no projection or dwelling being constructed over the right-of-way itself. The only thing is a 10-inch, as we see that eave going over the right-of-way up into the air. Again, no construction being proposed over the right-of-way. And as Mr. Cook mentioned, with the changes we've made, his client no longer objects to the proposal. And again, I'm happy to again modify that variance number 4, as well as variance number 1, as we discussed at the beginning of the application.
Okay, thank you. Any question, Ms. Satarodi?
Yes, just through you, Mr. Chair. I mean, my question is regarding the variance number 4. The way it's right, I would like to ask the city staff if this is a typo or because we have the proposed eave on the west side main wall projected at 0.41 and are 0.05 meter from the west lot line. Like, is the second one should be east lot line? Is it a typo or is both related to the west? If I can get that clear, then I will ask my second question.
What 41?
Variance number 4.
Yeah.
Staff are currently retrieving the zoning review document.
Thank you.
The proposed eaves on the west side, it said.
I do see your confusion, Ms. Satardi, where they wrote 2 numbers twice.
Yes.
I know it's you don't often see them written that way.
No.
Okay. Roof eave projection is the lot line. The proposed eave on the west side. Beautiful. Either from the lot line. 41 and 0.05 meter from the lot line. Lot line of the west or east?
It's all relating to the west, Ms. Satardi, because to the east, if we bring up the front elevation, which we just had up, there we go. On the right side is the east. We have, if we zoom in just even at the middle of the first floor, we can see that side yard setback of 1.04 meters. It's all relating to the west side. We don't often have it written as where it's projecting as well as from the lot line. It's usually just one number they give us. So there's no request for anything on the east.
Okay. Yeah, it said the west side here.
Then if that's the west side, then the modification will be read this way, like the proposed eave on the west side main one projection is now 0.25 meters.
Yeah.
And or what is the next number?
0.21. And it would be meters from the property line.
From the west line, yeah.
Correct. Because we have the 0.41 and the 0.05, so we know we got to get the 0.46. So if we take the 0.25 and take the 0.21, we can get to that same 0.46, which is the setback.
So from the west line will be 0.1.
So essentially, the eaves will project 0.25 meters from the dwelling, but they will be 0.21 meters from the west property line.
Okay. Okay. All right. Did you get that, Ms. Tarodi?
Yes, I get it, but I don't want to put a motion that then later it will be a problematic. That's why I asked for the confirmation with the city staff and applicant.
Okay, so yeah, 2.5, the other one, right, that's what he said.
That's correct.
Yeah. That's what he changes to. That's what he modified, yeah, modified 0.25. First he said no, now he agrees to change it to 0.25. And then it changes the other one to
0.21.
Yeah.
That's correct. Okay, perfect. Thank you very much for clarification.
Okay.
And my other question is regarding the transportation condition. If the applicant do not wish to park anything on the front of the property, so why we cannot tie it to the condition of the transportation that the location of a parking space in the front yard to be refused? If the applicant mentioned that they have no intention to park in the front yard, so then it will be okay if we put that condition of the transportation.
Mr. Berkowski?
It's a very good question, Mr. Teradi.
Yeah.
Because
if you don't park there, so transportation refuse is a material, right?
yes, but now do I trigger a variance for parking in front of the front main wall of the dwelling? Huh. I wonder if that was missed. Okay, can I research this and answer any other questions that somebody might have? Because this has that Davisville Village zoning bylaw, which is totally different, that restricts certain things. So let me look this up as I'm doing this now.
Okay, so in the meantime, anybody has any other question? The question in process now is transportation refuse parking space. So let's see what.
I believe Mr. Kidd had a question.
Sorry, what's your question?
Yeah, Mr. Chair, I did have a question for the applicant. I think that the problem we're having with the transportation report is that they're not objecting to you parking on the boulevard. They're objecting to you parking in the front yard, which is not allowed by the bylaw. And so that's the reason for the recommendation that we refuse variance number 2. It's not because you're proposing to park on the boulevard on the city property. It's that you're not allowed to park in the front yard of your property, even if you're completely within your boundary.
Well, the front yard parking, as determined, part of it belongs to the city. 16 feet from the sidewalk to the property.
I understand that, but the applicant is saying that he's not parking on the proposing to park on any of the city property.
Yeah.
Okay, which is a different issue. The problem that transportation has is that he's parking in the front yard, which is not allowed under the bylaw, even though it's completely within his property.
Yeah. I now I'm reading this closer. That's correct, Mr. Kidd. Here's the problem. If I were to be 1 inch different, I would, the location would be exactly the same with a 1 inch difference in where the car is located, right?
Yeah.
So I don't see the reason why, if I can park in front of my property, wholly on my property, why I should need to go get a permit parking spot.
The bylaw prevents you from parking in your front yard. I know this, I just went through exactly the same thing on my property. I could park entirely on my property in front of the building, in front of my house. But there's a bylaw that prevents you from parking in the front yard or adjacent on the side yard adjacent to your property. You have to be it has to be in the rear.
So they what? Okay, so you know what? I would leave that in the committee's hands if they would have an issue with a 1 or 2 inch difference of removing this. I don't see why an individual should have to go get a boulevard parking spot for a 1 or 2, 3 inch difference.
This is not a 1 or 2 inch question. You cannot park in front of your building entirely on your property.
No, I agree, Mr. Kidd, but if my parking space was 5.4 inches, 5.4 on my property and 0.2 on the city boulevard, that would trigger a boulevard permit, is what I'm getting at.
Yeah.
Right?
Maybe you should take the opportunity to defer this application and go back and work this out with transportation, because I'm not convinced that we have a complete application in front of us.
Okay, let me clarify this, Mr. Bilovsky. The parking on the street there, is there a permit parking on the street? Because you said I don't. You said I don't want to get a permit parking. Is there a permit parking on the street?
It wouldn't be a permit. It would be a boulevard permit to park on the city boulevard in front of the house.
Yes.
That's what transportation wants you to do here.
Yeah, because what happened, as I explained before, I was involved with this. Even if you park in front of your property, up to from the sidewalk 16 feet belong to the city. So if you have only part of your car parking on that part, that's a city property. That's why they determine it. And
correct.
That's why there is permit parking. The question now, what do you want to do? Are you asking for a permit for front yard parking or not?
No, you know what? I'm happy to remove this variance and they can go and get a boulevard permit spot.
Well, that's it. Yeah. Okay.
Sure. I'm happy to remove that variance and they can apply for the boulevard spot.
Okay. So which variance is removed here? Number?
Variance number 2.
Number 2. Okay. So so the question doesn't. Yeah, you're right. You can apply for permit parking. So 24. Okay, so could you please go over the changes you're making? First, you're changing the...
Yes.
Yeah.
Variance number 1 will request 0.73. Variance number 2 will be removed. And variance number 4 will read 0.25 and 0.21.
Okay, 0.21, very good. Okay.
Interestingly, sorry, Mr. Chair. Interestingly, the dwelling now actually has the boulevard parking plaque on the porch. The existing dwelling.
What's that? Who parked that?
The existing dwelling has boulevard. The existing house has boulevard parking authorized by the city.
Oh, okay. So then, okay.
I forgot yes, that completely slipped my mind when I was there. Yes.
Okay. All right. Okay. So, if there are no more questions, can I have a motion then, please? You have question, Ms. Atarudi?
No, I'm ready for the motion.
Please go ahead. Shoot.
Yes. To you, Mr. Chair, I would like to put forward a motion to approve this application with the following changes. Variance number 1, the proposed floor space index is now 0.73 times of the area of the lot. Variance number 2, eliminated. Variance number 3, the proposed eave on the west side main wall is 0.25 and are 0.21 meter from the west lot line and subjected to urban forestry.
Very good. Thank you. Second? Second? Mr. Yeah, okay. Mr. Kate already seconded it. All in favor? Okay, unanimous. Okay, sir, your application is unanimous based on the two the changes you made for number 1, number 2, and number that's it. Okay.
Thank you.
You're welcome. That's gone. 25 is gone. 164 Lytton Boulevard, application number 26. And here we have Andrew Shield. Are you there? Andrew Shield.
Andrew, you've been unmuted.
Hello.
Okay, could you please state your name and address for us, please?
Yeah, my name is Andrew Shields, Scott Shields Architects, 317 King Street West, Toronto.
Okay.
I'm the applicant's agent.
Okay, we have, this is a new dwelling, 1 variance, FSI only, forestry, condition number 1, 11 letters of support and 1. Members, do we need a presentation here? No? Okay, sir, we don't need the presentation. Do you want to make any comments before we move to committee?
I'm happy to answer any questions that there may be.
Thank you. Okay, members, question or motion? Yeah, Mr. Hunt. Mr. Hunt has his first. Please go ahead.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I would move that this application be approved subject only to urban forestry standard requirements.
Thank you. Second? Second, Mr. Tarodi, all in favor? All in favor? Okay, thank you. Mr. Khan, did you have your hand up? Are you for it? Yeah, you're for it. Thank you. Okay, unanimously, your application is approved, subject to forestry.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. 2720 Lytton Boulevard. 20. Yeah. 27 Lytton Boulevard. David Bronscale, are you there?
Good evening, Mr. Chair. Can you
Hi.
hear me?
Yes, we hear you. Could you please just state your name again and address, please?
Yes, David Bronskill from Goodman's, 333 Bay Street, Suite 3400, Toronto, Ontario.
Okay.
I'm glad you are all still functioning at the end of this long day.
Yeah, barely. Okay, so we
I
have.
was with you this morning, and I'm happy to close the day with you too.
Hi. Okay. This is for a new dwelling, 3 variances. The Heritage requested a deferral for 1 month in a staff report and in a letter from Heritage. And do you have any? And the councillor supports deferral. Do you? Can you make a comment on that one? Could you please cover what's happening there?
Yes, Mr. Chair, I can. There's an updated email from Heritage, April 26th, where they now confirm no objections, which means, and that's because of a revision that our client has made through discussions with HPS staff once they received the memo. And so there's no request any longer from Heritage for deferral. And Mr. Chair, I can explain that a little bit if you'd like.
Yeah, please go ahead.
Thank you. So
we don't have anybody else registered here, so you can go ahead and make your presentation.
okay, thank you, sir. I will do that. And part of it is to speak to how we got to this lack of objection from HPS. Just as background, the property itself, 20 Lytton, does not have any status under the Ontario Heritage Act. So it's not listed, it's not designated, there's no Heritage Conservation District here. The adjacent property that's located at 22 Lytton does have heritage status. And that's what initially caused heritage staff to write in and seek the deferral. And the concern was that although no front yard setback is being sought by our client, the concern from heritage staff was locating the building at the news dwelling, at the permitted front yard setback would take away some views of the side elevation of 22 Lytton. What my client's been able to do working with heritage staff, and I'm not sure if committee staff are able to put up the supporting material April 21. It's a 0.7 megabyte file that has some revised plans from the architect that are actually dated April 20th. There's no change to the variances or the application, Mr. Chair, but what the architect was able to do is move the building back. That's the one, thank you. Yes, and the page before may have an inset on it. If you could go up one page. Yes, perfect. So it's blown out, but then there's an inset there in the bottom right. The architect has moved the building back 0.6 of a meter. So the allowable front yard setback is 8.18 meters. It's been moved now back 0.6 of a meter. So the front yard setback is now proposed at 8.79 meters. And therefore, as you can see, it allows a greater view of that corner where there's a gable, and we've included pictures of that. So it's opened up the views to that corner of the house and the side elevation. The architect and a representative of the client actually did some photos where they walked through with HPS to show the differences, and that's what caused HPS to send the new email to the committee indicating no objection. So we would be asking out of the agreement made with HPS staff that if you should approve the variances, that you require construction to be substantially in accordance with the site plan that is dated as revised April 20th, 2023. And that's what's on the screen in front of you, because if we don't do that, technically we could move the house back out to the front yard setback. The competing interest here was moving the building back any further, starts to get the rear wall behind the neighbor at 22, who has, by the way, provided a letter of support, as have other neighbors. And we didn't want to push the house back too far and start negatively impacting their backyard as well. So this is I'd submit to the committee a very good negotiated solution that respects the neighbors who are otherwise in support, respects the concern initially flagged by HPS and now resolved in their email, and I think makes it an application worthy of approval by the committee. I can speak more to the actual variances if you wish, but I wanted to give you that background about the heritage and why we're in a place where HPS is willing to support the application based on this site plan.
Okay, just for clarification, I have here a staff report, and the staff report is basically a letter regarding the heritage. It said that should the Committee of Adjustment consider the requested variance application, heritage planning request 1 month to undertake further discussions, and this is dated April 27. You said there was one where it said they rescinded that. I have here.
Yes, sir. There's an email from them.
Do we have an email, Mr.?
Sorry, sir, the misleading part of this report, and I understand the date at the April 27th, it's not actually dated April 27th. That's dated as of the committee date. It was posted on the AIC well before that. So we knew about it, and that's why we were able to engage them. And then they sent this letter April 26th. It's the same person.
Okay.
Who provided that report, who's also providing this email. It is confusing that the date on the original memo or letter is April 27th, but it is posted on the AIC well before that. And Mr. Chair, I'm speaking a bit slowly just so that I can bring that up for you to confirm the actual date on the AIC. If you give me one moment.
No, that's okay. It said there. They put date as April 27. That is misleading.
Yes, but it was provided earlier, and so therefore we knew about it and immediately engaged with HPS staff. Okay. It was posted April 19th, sir. I'm just looking at the AIC now.
Okay.
The April 27th memo was actually posted April 19th.
Okay. Okay. Any questions, members? No questions? I see everybody says no, so can I have a motion then, please? Okay, Mr. Kate, please go ahead.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I accept the explanation provided by the agent, and I'd like to put forward a motion to accept the application, subject to the condition that it be built substantially in accordance with the revised site plan dated April 20th, 2023.
Okay, that's it.
That's it.
Second. Mr. Hunt seconding, all in favor? Unanimous. Okay, sir, your application is unanimously approved, subject to those conditions.
Thank you, Mr. Chair, and go Leafs go.
Thank you. Our day is not over yet. Our afternoon is just starting. Okay, number 28. Item number 28, which is 6 SULKARA Court, application number 28. And here we have Michael Kondoyanis. Michael Kondoyanis, are you there?
Yes, I am.
Okay. Can you please state your name and address for the records here?
It's Michael Kondoyanis, 124 Evelyn Crescent, Toronto.
Okay. Again, I have here my records. I don't know how new they are. It said here, transportation recommends deferral. TRCA, no impact, no objection. Forestry condition. We have some letters of support, and the counselor supports the application. So could you please give us a short presentation? We have just one more person here registered, an area resident, so we'll call that person after your presentation.
Yes, sure. Yes, the property was considered. It was originally a renovation, but because we had the engineer designated a few of the walls unsafe, they had to be rebuilt. So it was now considered a new construction. So it has triggered some minor variances, but basically we have the it's the original house that was there, the outline of the original house, and we are just building a second story on it, and so it has triggered these minor variances on either side. It's also TRCA. It had a setback from the top of slope, so they had like a 10-meter setback, and the original house is within that 10-meter setback, so we triggered a couple of those minor variances. There's also the front yard setback is triggered on the ground floor now because of the new build.
Are you finished?
Yes.
Oh.
Thank you.
Okay. So let's get we have another person here. Paul Carter, are you there? Paul Carter?
Paul Carter, 8 SULKARA Court.
Your address, please.
Number 8 SULKARA Court.
Thank you. Tell us what's your concern.
I have no concern. I just wanted to express our support for this beautiful addition to our neighborhood.
Oh, you're supporting it. Excellent. Okay. So if you're supporting it, I don't have any question for you. Members, do you have any question for the speaker? Okay, so let's get back to the agent and Mr. Condoyanis, you don't have to rebuttal Mr. Carter's. Let's see. Let's see if the members have any question. Any question for the speaker? No? Okay. Can I have a motion then, please? Anyone for a motion? Okay, Mr. Kidd.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I feel that the proposal represents an appropriate development of this property, and the requested variances are of a minor nature. I'd like to put forward a motion to accept the application, subject to that condition that the north side yard setback be developed in accordance with the site plan drawing attached to the April 12 staff report. And I'd also like to make it subject to forestry condition number 3.
Number 3, thank you. Okay, second. Ms. Atarodi seconding, all in favor? Thank you. Sir, unanimously approved, subject to the staff condition to build per site plan and forestry.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Application number 29, which is 35 McGLASHAN, application number 29. And this is Mr. Lawrence Cavanaugh. Mr. Lawrence Cavanaugh, are you there?
No. Yes, I am.
Lawrence, you have two WebEx apps open. It appears on the attendees list. If you could please exit from one of them. Thank you.
Okay, are you okay now? Could you please try to speak?
I'm attempting to. I don't know why there was 2 open.
Okay, now it's okay. Now we hear you. Oh no, no, it's starting again. Could you try again, please?
Lawrence, try to speak again.
Yes.
Okay, it's okay now.
Is it working now?
Well, keep
Okay.
talking. Keep talking. We'll see.
Okay. My name is Lawrence Cavanaugh. My address is 1 Oakhampton Boulevard, Toronto.
Excellent. Okay, so we have here. What do we have? We have here is a reconstruction of 1-story addition, a new 2nd story, 1 variance, and 1 letter of support. That's all we have here. Members, before that, I want to ask the applicant. I have a note here. I don't know how serious it is. It says the applicant requested a deferral. Did you request a deferral?
No, sir. No, Mr. Chair, I didn't know.
Okay,
No.
well, there's a mistake here. They put here deferral requested by agents. Okay.
Oh, no, we've waited long enough. I don't want to defer.
Yeah, I guess they put it in the wrong file. Okay, members,
Okay.
1 variance, 1 letter of support, nothing else. Do we need a presentation? No. Sir, we don't need a presentation. Do you want to add something, and we'll move to committee?
No,
Okay.
that's fine. Thank you.
Okay, Ms. Satarodi, motion?
Yes, through you, Mr. Chair. Yes, I'm ready to put forward a motion to approve this application with no condition. It's very straightforward, only 1 variance.
Thank you. Second. Mr. Hunt seconding, all in favor? Thank you. Your application is unanimously approved and there is no conditions.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Okay, we're going to number 32, and the other ones before 32 will be right back. We're sorry, somebody had to leave right now. Yaso Somalingam. This is regarding application 294 Wilson Avenue. So, Mr. Somalingam, are you there?
Yes, Mr. Chairman and the committee, yes, I'm here.
Okay, you got to go to the other application, I guess, huh?
Yeah, I have one another committee adjustment meeting in another municipality, so that's why I did on.
Okay, now we have I have a note here. I don't know how recent it is. We have the transportation recommends deferral for additional information. Was that entertained, or you haven't responded to that yet?
Actually, that what happened is that probably they have a miscommunication. We already have that variance item for the parking. We already got it approved in the last committee meeting. The 10's required, and we have only 2, and that was approved in the last committee meeting. Actually, we shouldn't have asked that item, but anyway, we repeated the same old items including that. So I sent an email clarification to the planning, copy to transportation, so they have that clarification.
Okay, so how about the variances? How many variances do you have now?
The variances is same that the parking variance which is already approved in the previous meeting.
Okay, and the number of variances remain the same, right?
That's right.
32. That's 5 variances. Okay. Any? Do you want to complete your presentation, or you're finished? Do you want to say something else?
It's basically we got an approval in the last with additional commercial space and the retail space with two-story building, and then we got additional 2 floors now with the additional apartments, which is not triggering any additional parking variances, but it's triggering some height variances and the setback variances in the front. Since we are building on the existing exterior structure, we are triggering these additional variances. And these are mainly the commuters are going to use the existing transportation system on the Wilson Avenue as well as the Bathurst Avenue. And these existing use being used by a jewelry pawn shop for quite a long time, that all 3 floors were retail and offices. Now, instead of this, we are having 1 commercial unit in the ground level with the storage facilities for the same retail unit in the basement. And there's 1 second floor, existing floor converted into residential unit, and additional 2 floors converted into residential units. So basically, it's giving some additional apartments for the neighborhood without jeopardizing any additional parking. And as I mentioned, the parking requirement variance is, even though it's mentioned in this variance application, that variance is already approved in the previous meeting, but it's repeated here. It shouldn't be, but it's being repeated there. That's
okay. Could you go over application number variance that's asking for 3 point something index, 3.62?
Hold on a second. Let me get
variance number 4.
Hold on.
Variance number 4, it said the maximum floor space index shall be 1.0, and the proposed floor space index is 3.62. I never seen that before.
So it's what it says is the floor index of that the whole area maximum GFA what we can have is 1, but already that the 2-story building is more than that. So we are adding another 2 stories that those 2 stories are be added only for the apartments.
Yeah, okay. So this is a FSI, not floor, not GFA. You said
No,
you
it's
said
FSI.
GFA is FSI.
FSI.
Okay. All right. So members, any question? I don't have anybody else registered here. Just the agent. Mr. Tarodi?
Yes, to you, Mr. Chair. My question was also regarding variance 4 and 5. No, variance number 4. How much is the existing floor space index?
The existing floor space index is almost 2.
2. Perfect. And then the second question is regarding variance number 5. Can you just clarify on that or give me an explanation?
Hold on a second. The variance number.
Zero indoor, 0 outdoor.
The proposed amenity area.
Yeah, the recreational amenity area, they need a 2 meter square recreational amenity area by the bylaw, which is they want some kind of a play area sort of thing. That these are equipped for these regulations are for a big larger apartment buildings and sort of thing. But this is it's a narrow apartment building. It's only 20 feet wide and 100 feet deeper building and sitting on an existing building. So this is a same scenario for the rest of the buildings in the neighborhood, where there's no much amenity spaces in that area, but there are public parks and sort of thing in nearby vicinity. They can simply walk there and then have the amenity areas. But this is in the bylaw, so that's requesting that. So even the existing the variants which we already got approved for the 4 units already there, it doesn't have the amenity area because it's not possible to put in a small strict building neighborhood there.
Okay.
Because there's a bylane going in the backside, common laneway for the whole buildings in the back.
Thank you. Any other question? Mr. Khan, please go ahead. Mr. Khan.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Through you, sir, I want to ask, variance number 2, number of parking spaces 2 for 10. They were approved previously on July 14th, 22. Now, why you have to reapply?
Yeah, that's a mistake. It happened. We don't need that variance. Actually, you can eliminate that variance on your approval. It's already approved.
Sir, you are suggesting I should delete it, right?
Yes, it's already approved. That variance is already approved.
So you're
deleting it.
You're removing variance number 2, right?
That's correct.
Okay. So
I hope planning doesn't have any object on it because that variance is already approved in the previous application.
Okay. Okay. So variance number.
Excuse me, Ms.
Yeah.
Sorry to interrupt, Mr.
Yeah,
Chair.
go ahead.
I think it might be a mistake to delete that. 2 spaces were approved in the previous application, but that was for half the number of apartment units. He's adding substantially to the number of units, so I imagine that would affect the parking requirements, and I think that's the reason for that variance number 2.
Apparently, in the previous application, we had because of the extra commercial area there, that's what triggered for the extra parking variance. But yes, the earlier also the same variance 10 required and we have only 2. Now also 10 required, we have only 2. So I'm not asking any additional variances. I think there's no harm in leaving that, and I'm not asking extra. So I'm asking only 10 instead of 2.
If the variance can be removed, huh? Yeah. So if the variance is removed, If they didn't have this application, he wouldn't be here, so they can do whatever they want. The variance is removed, so you don't have to entertain it. That's what I understand it. So, yeah, he doesn't require the 10 anymore. Any other question? Mr. Kitts, do you still have any comment? You want another question?
No, I don't. Thanks.
Okay. Any other question from other members? If not, anybody can entertain a motion? Going once, going twice. Can I have a motion there, please? Mr. Kitt, go ahead, please.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Some of these variances, they're it's hard to believe that they're of a minor nature. They're very large.
So
but given the fact that the city planning staff have expressed no reservations with regard to these requested variances, I'm gonna put forward a motion to accept the application with amended to delete variance number 2.
Okay, and there is no condition there, is there? No. 32.
No conditions.
No, there is no condition. Okay, thank you. Second. We don't have second. Okay, there is no second. Oh, Ms. Satarodi, are you seconding it? Okay, Ms. Satarodi is seconding it. So I have a motion from Mr. Kidd, seconded by Ms. Satarodi. All in favor? No. Okay. Yeah, Ms. Satarodi, you too. All in favor, just the 2. Okay. And there is no, the 2 of them are opposed, yeah? Opposed? 2 opposing. Okay. Okay, I believe I know the reason why this is sound high is because of the mixed use and also the need for the apartments, and therefore I'm sympathetic to the question of Mr. Kitt regarding the parking. The parking, especially for neighbors and for the visitors, is horrible. But this is the way it goes. So I'll move with the motion. I'll vote with the motion, and we'll approve the application subject to removing variance number 2. Okay, so sir, your application is approved without the number 2, and there is no condition.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Thank you, the committee.
Okay, now we go back to the agenda. Application number 31, which is that 38 or 88? Yeah, it's not clear here. 31. Yeah, 88 Ridge Hill, application number 31, and here we have Mr. Franco Romano. Mr. Romano, are you there?
Good evening, Mr. Chairman. Franco Romano, Action Planning, on behalf of the owner, 2095 Autumn Breeze Port Credit.
Thank you. So we have here We have here like one more speaker, and therefore we need a very short presentation if you wish. We have here just adding a side and rear addition. 7 variances. We have 20 letters of support, and transportation recommends approval as well. So could you make please a short presentation?
Yes, certainly. Thank you kindly. And I appreciate it if staff can bring up my presentation slides. So what one will see is the site's located on the north side of Ridge Hill Drive. And the air photograph shows the existing site as a 2-story dwelling, and then there's a 1-story rear addition, and you'll see that just beyond where the sloped roof is. And neighboring properties are also constructed with 2 stories that are more fully filled out. And what you'll see is that they are typically tight to the side lot lines. The subject site is a little different than that. What you also see on the subject site is that the driveway starts at the front and the paved area goes well into the backyard. It's a bit of a flag shape. So the driveway in the front is remaining the same. There's no change to that. So that driveway width variance reflects an existing condition, and you'll see that nearby properties have a similar flare out to the driveway along the front. In the back, the existing deck is remaining, and that is the deck stair width. That is also a variance. So that's the existing condition. The east or the right-hand side eaves and setback relationship is an existing condition that is also remaining. And what is being proposed is a side 2-story addition and then a rear 2nd-story addition. And what you'll see on the lower part of this slide 1, the second image from the right and the lower image is a front elevation. So that building addition will align with the existing dwelling. It will be no taller than that. It has a front presentation that is sloped, and at the back it's more of a flat and sloped condition. It's a bit of a hybrid. The neighboring properties and nearby properties all have very tight side yard setbacks, and their eaves are practically touching the property line. So the eaves that is existing on the east side is a variance that's consistent with the neighborhood, and the eaves that is proposed on the west side, the left-hand side, is also consistent with the neighborhood. If we go to the second slide, what you'll see is that that paved area that I show there in magenta all the way to the back is being replaced with a building addition, and much of the landscaping in the back is being put in place of that hard surface. So there's added landscaping, and the side yard setback on the west side starts at 0.3 meters and widens to 0.45 meters. And what you'll see is the building length and depth still shorter than neighboring buildings, and it's about 13.4 to 15.1 meters in length. So it's smaller than what the permissions are. I do wish to make an amendment, and that is for variance number 3. The proposed west side yard setback should be 0.3 meters. And with that, Mr. Chairman, I'll see if there are any questions. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Now we have here, in this here, registered another speaker, but it said he's the applicant. Do they want to speak, or it was a mistake? Is Stuart Hatch the applicant?
Mr. Chairman, this is Franco Romano again. Stuart Hatch is the designer, and he may have registered earlier on, but he's not available, so I've been retained
so he doesn't want
to assist.
Okay,
so he does not have to speak.
Okay,
Yeah.
so he's not a resident who's opposing it or whatever.
And Mr. Chair, he's not on the call.
He's not on the call. Okay. All right. Thank you.
Yeah, we have 24 signatures of support, including both immediate neighbors.
I have a whole list of supports. Okay, members, any question for the speaker, Mr. Tarodi?
No, I don't have question. I'm ready for the motion.
Okay. Did anybody else have any question before the motion? No. So, Mr. Tarodi, Please go ahead for your motion.
Through you, Mr. Chair, I would like to put forward a motion to approve this application with only one modification, that the variance number 3 now to be read that the proposed west side yard setback is now 0.3 meters. And that's my motion.
Thank you. Second. Mr. Hunt seconding. All in favor? Thank you. Sir, your application is unanimously approved, subject to the change you made for number 3 to 0.3.
That's terrific. Thank you kindly. Appreciate your kind attention.
Thank you. Have a nice day. Okay, item number 33, which is a 32. Yeah. 33, which is 38 Cameron Crescent, application number 33, and here we have Kelly Lem. Kelly Lem, are you there?
Here, Mr. Chairman, Kelly Lem.
Okay, could you please state the name? You stated it, just the address, so it can be recorded on the system.
Yes. Sure. I'm at 201 Wicksteed Avenue, Unit 15.
Okay.
In Toronto.
Thank you. So we have here addition and recovered posts, 5 variances. Transportation recommends approval, and we have 2 letters of support. Members, do we need the presentation here?
3 letters, sir.
Do we need the presentation? No? Okay, we don't need the presentation. Do you want to add something before we move to committee?
No, Mr. Chair.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay. Can I have a motion there, please? Ms. Atarodi?
Yes, through you, Mr. Chair, I would like to put forward a motion to approve this application with no condition. Thank you.
Thank you. Second? Second, Mr. Kitts is seconding. All in favor? All in favor, members? Thank you. Unanimously approved, sir, with no conditions.
Thank you, Mr. Chair, and members of the committee. Have a great evening.
Thank you. You too. Item number 34, which is 310 Patricia, application number 34. And here we have Jonathan Penskowski. Jonathan Benskowski, are you there?
Good evening, Mr. Chair.
Okay. Again, I know who you are, but just repeat it for the system to be recorded for each application.
Yes. 301 Keewatin Avenue.
Thank you. And this is a new dwelling, 6 variances. Staff reports just a condition to build per east and west side elevation drawing. Members, do we need a presentation here? No. Thank you. Sir, we don't need the presentation. Do you want to make any comment before we move to the decision?
I believe you've heard my voice enough today, committee.
Yeah, you want to go home too, right? Okay. So, members, can I have a motion there? There is only one condition from the staff to build. Okay, Mr. Khan, could you please go ahead? Please go.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. We have 6 variations in front of us.
Yes.
And I'm taking the staff recommendation to approve this application. And it says the proposal be developed substantially in accordance with the east and west side elevation drawings.
Very good.
Attached 1 and 2 to this report. This application be approved.
Thank you. Second? Second, Mr. Tarodi, all in favor? Okay, thank you. Unanimously, sir, your application is unanimously approved, subject to just that,
Thank you.
That condition of the staff.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, number 35. Number 35, which is 6 MILLGATE Crescent, application number 35, and here we have Nargis Nasiri, are you there?
Good evening.
Okay. Good afternoon. Can you please state your name and address for us?
It's Nargis Nasiri, 326 Shepherd Avenue East.
Okay. Now we're into item number 35, which is 6 Millgate Crescent. We have new dwelling, 3 variances, and forestry condition. There is nothing else except I believe there's no. I want to see if there's any other speaker here. No, there's nobody to speak on this application. Members, do we need a presentation here? No. Okay, we don't need a presentation. Do you want to make any comment before?
No, thank you very much.
Thank you. Members, Mr. Kett, please go ahead.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. The requested variances are of a minor nature. I'd like to put forward a motion to accept the application, subject to forestry condition number 1.
Thank you. Second, Mr. Khan, seconding. All in favor? Thank you. Okay, so unanimously approved, subject to just forestry. Now, I believe the next one is yours as well.
Yes, that's right.
Okay, so the next one is application number 36, which is 51 Millgate Crescent, and here we have a resident who wants to speak. Do you know if the resident is online?
Mr. Chair, I believe they dropped off.
They dropped off. Okay, so we have just the applicant, and here is 36. 36, again, we have a new dwelling, 2 variances minor, there is nothing else. Members, do we need a presentation here? It's, okay. Again, do you need to say anything before we move to committee?
No, Mr. Chair, thank you.
Thank you. Can I have a motion then, please? Mr. Hunt, please go ahead. Please go ahead.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Thank you. I would move approval of this without condition, as there are no department comments or concerns.
Thank you. Second, Mr. Khan is seconding it, and all in favor? All in favor. Thank you. Unanimously approved. Your application is approved, and there is no conditions there.
Thank you very much. Have a good evening, everyone.
You too. Okay, application number 37, which is 54 Glenview Avenue. 54 Glenview Avenue. And here we have Franco Romano. Are you there?
Mr. Chairman, thank you. Franco Romano, Action Planning, 2095 Autumn Breeze.
Okay.
For credit.
Yeah. Okay, thank you. Now, staff, are all these people present there? There's 1, 2, 3, 4 people registered there. They're still there, huh? Okay, yeah. We have some people registered here to speak for this application. Therefore, we need you to make a presentation, please.
Yes, thank you. If staff can please bring up my slides. What we'll see on the subject site is that on the west side, it abuts the park, and on the east side, there are houses next door. The existing site is developed with a 2.5 or 3-story dwelling that's approximately 23 to 24 meters long in depth, so from front to back. The proposal that's before this committee is to replace that 2.5 and 3-story dwelling with a 2-story dwelling. And the 2-story dwelling has a building length and depth that in the middle of the dwelling, so from the front porch to the rear 1-story bump out, is 20.06 meters. On the left-hand side, the two-story portion only is 15.7 meters. And on the right-hand side, or the east side, it is 17.37 meters. So it is an articulated footprint. And what is being shown on this site plan, on this drawing right now, is that there are several trees, more than several trees, along the city boulevard, along the park to the west, on the left-hand side, and in the backyard. And they are all being protected. So the design of the dwelling is to have sympathetic condition to those trees, and that includes a notch on the left-hand side of the front of the dwelling. So what we will see then is that what is being proposed is actually shorter in length and depth, shorter in height, and is actually smaller in floor space index than what exists. The existing dwelling on the property today is at 0.58 times the lot area, 0.58 floor space index. And once again, the building length and depth is about 23 to 24 meters. What's before this panel today is for a building length and depth that is 20.06 meters, and that is for that one-story bump out at the back, and a floor space index of 0.55. For a two-story dwelling with a rear one-story bump out that is lower than the overall building height permitted by the zoning bylaw, has wall heights that are lower than the zoning bylaw permits, has a first floor height that is lower than the bylaw permits, has side yard setbacks that are zoning bylaw compliant, and has a front and rear yard setback that is larger than what the zoning bylaw permits. So the footprint of this building is smaller than what exists. The floor area is smaller than what exists. The length and depth is smaller than what exists. The 2 stories that's being proposed fits in with the 2-story character along the street and in the surrounding neighborhood and area. And there are several properties, not only in the immediate context, but on the surrounding context, that have floor space indices that are larger than what is being proposed. So the proposal in no way creates something that is new or creates anything that creates an unacceptable adverse impact. Planning staff are in support. Urban forestry has conditions which were agreed with, and so does ravine natural feature protection. They also have conditions that are appropriate to attach. The Toronto Region Conservation Authority has no objections or concerns. We can get a permit from them once we have minor variance approval. Subject to any questions, sir, and committee panel, I respectfully submit that what is being proposed here is sympathetic, respectful, and reinforces the surrounding character, and that the variances are minor in nature. Thank you kindly.
Thank you. Now, we have a number of residents here to speak. Did you have any conversations with them before? Because I don't see a big thing.
I know.
Yeah. We have 7 letters of objection. So okay.
Yes, thank you for that question. I know that.
Yeah. Okay. Well, let's hear them.
Sorry, thank you for that question.
Yeah, we'll hear them first.
Okay.
Heather Lawson, is she here?
Mr. Chair, I do not see a Heather Lawson on the call.
She's not?
No.
Okay. Next is John Cushman. Is he there? Okay. Mr. Cushman, are you there?
Cushman.
Could you please?
Yes, I'm here.
Thank you. Could you please state your name and address for the records here?
My name is John Cushman. I live at 50 Glenview Avenue, and I'm Heather Lawson's husband. And Heather, we're on one computer, so as to avoid feedback.
Thank you.
So Heather is here, but she will not speak. I'm going to speak on.
Please tell us what's the concern
Okay.
about this application.
Yeah, thank you for giving us the opportunity to raise our objections to the proposal. My wife and I have lived at 50 Glenview Avenue for over 15 years, and our house is immediately to the east of 54 Glenview. In addition to concerns that will be raised by Terry Mills, who is a planner, we believe that the proposal does not meet the general intent and purpose of the official plan, which states that new development respect and reinforce the existing physical character of each geographic neighborhood. We also believe that the proposal does not meet the desirable or appropriate test. As evidence for our claims, we will discuss 3 issues. 1, the state of our neighborhood today. 2, 54 Glenview and 50 Glenview today. And 3, the impact of the proposal on the neighborhood and on 50 Glenview. Issue 1, our neighborhood today. The block of Glenview Avenue between Yonge and Duplex is a unique area. The lots are large. Houses on the south side are 15 by 50 meters, and many on the north side are 15 by 70 meters. The north side homes also overlook the ravine. Many of the houses were built before World War II and are 2 and 2.5 stories, and the block has a modest older home character. The prevailing building pattern includes private driveways, which provide most houses with separation from their neighbors and access to sunlight. During the 15-year period that we've lived here, there have been several renovations, but no teardowns, as residents have tried to respect and reinforce the historical look, as well as the separation between the houses on this block. Issue 2, 50 Glenview and 54 Glenview today. Our house, 50 Glenview, was built in 1998 and has a beautiful view of the ravine from our rear windows and from our backyard. We currently enjoy light and views through the windows on our western wall, which light our living and dining rooms, as well as a second-floor office. We spend significant time in these rooms during the day. We also enjoy gardening in our backyard and note that the current building at 50 Glenview is not conspicuous to us in this area of our property. Our house and the current house at 54 Glenview achieve separation from each other in 2 ways. First, the rear portions of 50, that's the north portions of 50 Glenview and 54 Glenview, are both 1 story. Second, the existing building at 54 Glenview has a series of setbacks to its eastern property line, which range from 4.5 meters at the front end to 3 meters in the middle portion, and then it moves back to 5.3 meters at the back end. Also, the very front of 54 Glenview is a 1-story sunroom, which has a side yard setback greater than 4.5 meters. Issue 3, the 54 Glenview proposal. The proposal contemplates a house significantly larger than our house to be built on a lot that is significantly smaller. Unfortunately, the proposal does not respect our access to our natural light and our views. The 2-story eastern wall of the proposal would run close by the length of our building and extend beyond our back wall, which is longer than the permitted length. There's a further projection of 2 meters in the middle of the rear face of the building, which would trigger a length variance as well as a depth variance. This would significantly reduce the sunlight we currently enjoy in our living and dining rooms, as well as in our office, which has western-facing windows. It would also reduce the light in a second-floor guest room. In addition, the 54 Glenview proposal includes a second-floor master bedroom with a large picture window which would overlook our backyard, negatively impacting our backyard experience as well as our view of our backyard from inside our house. In conclusion, we conclude that as per the official plan, the proposal does not respect and reinforce the existing physical character of the neighborhood. Relative to 50 Glenview, it proposes a bigger building on a smaller lot that pushes on length and density. If approved, the proposal would erode the modest building size and separation between houses that prevails in this neighborhood. It would also set a negative trend in housing development with more oversized homes relative to lot size and out of character design. For example, this is the only house on the street that will have a 2-car garage. We also conclude that the project is not appropriate. With its excess length and second-story bedroom with a picture window, it would intrude on our privacy in our backyard. It is also not desirable. It would diminish our enjoyment of our property by significantly reducing the western sunlight in our home and impair our views. Given our concerns, we need to either refuse the application in its current form or see whether the applicant would defer the application. We wish to inform the committee that we are prepared to have a constructive discussion with the applicant about achieving a mutually desirable solution. Terry Mills will address planning matters in connection with the application. Thank you.
Thank you. Any question for the speaker? Next one is Terry Mills. Is he online? Yeah. Mr. Mills, are you online?
Yes, I am. Can you hear me all right?
We hear you all right. Could you please state your name and address for the records here? Mr. Mills, can you please state your name and address? If we lost him,
101 Roehampton Avenue.
thank you. So please tell us what tell us what the concern about this application.
I'm having trouble. Okay, with the concern with this application is that it does not, there's a specific character to Glenview Avenue. And perhaps if you can bring up my letter, and the very last page has photographs we can look at, and that will perhaps tell more of the story on that. And while that's coming up, one thing I am also concerned with on terms of process is there is a missing variance for the fact that the FSI is to be calculated on the basis of the tableland above the top of the slope. Okay, now if you could, that page with images there, if you can bring it up so it's the full width of the viewing screen, we can then see 2 photos at a time. Yeah, that's great. Right there, that's good. But when, for instance, number 48 next door had its application before the Committee of Adjustment, they did deal with the variance required when you have a ravine condition at the rear and the top of bank. And I don't see a variance for that to be addressed today. But anyway, with that said, let's just look at character of the neighborhood for a moment here. These are, you can see these houses all were built on 15-meter lots for the most part. And they all had private driveways, which created the additional separation that they enjoy so much. And in some cases, you get 2 driveways together, as we see in the top left. On the top right, you see more of the typical situation where people might give up on having a garage in the backyard. They might do some minor portion of an addition into the side yard. But between the 2 adjacent buildings, you have a very broad distance greater than simply going with the minimum side yard setback requirements. And it creates a condition where the houses, the middle rooms and so on, have ample light and view that they otherwise don't have. And in fact, at this point, the house is described by Mr. Franco, my colleague in planning, the relationship of number 54 and number 50 at this time is a very desirable situation. And, they're looking at the fact that they will be confronted with a solid wall of a full 2-story height that extends back to, from the front yard setback, actually at the very corner of the house, 18 meters. So it is longer than the permitted 17 meters, and it's part of what becomes the length variance. Again, you can see here in the middle 2 photographs. You can scroll down a bit, perhaps. That house on the very right, up a bit. You can just scroll up. Yeah, the house on the right there is immediately across the street. Now that's a house at 0.55, but again, I think it has some mitigating circumstances to permitting that height. Or sorry, that FSI. Part of it is deployed part of its gross floor area to a partial 3rd floor. And again, it is maintained the side yard setback of the driveway. So that house and the house beside it enjoy, good use of side windows, which you can see there again. The bottom right picture there, by the way, is of the subject house that Mr. Franco described to us. And you can see on the left-hand side of it, the parkette they're talking about in the proximity of those trees. And on the right-hand side of that, you can see the flanking wall of my client's house. And what you're looking at there is the 2-story portion of it, but that doesn't go back 17 meters. It only goes back about 10 meters. And then it just has a 1-story addition, or sorry, a 1-story ground floor. So it does permit a fair amount of light and view to get through. I do put in the example house on the bottom left with the red car in front of it.
Sir, I'll ask you to summarize. You're getting to 5 minutes. And
okay, I'm sorry about that. I have, yeah. So my concerns here is that they should be looking at deploying the massing, deploying the FSI in a manner that is in keeping with the prevailing pattern of side yard setbacks on the street.
Thank you.
That is a principal concern.
Thank you. Any question for the speaker? Okay, the next one is Janet Purcell. Are they online? Yeah. Okay, Janet Purcell or Doug.
Hi, my name's Janet.
Hi, could you please?
Janet Purcell.
Okay, could you please?
I live at 51.
Yeah.
51 Glenview Avenue, which is across the street from the subject house.
Thank you.
The reason I'm on this call.
So tell us what's your concern. Anything different from what you heard before?
Well, my concern overall is the size of the house and the depth and the length, as was already discussed. I have something a little bit different that I wanted to add, and that is that the house beside us, number 49 Glenview, went to Committee of Adjustments probably 6 years ago. And at that time, none of us on the street had gone through this process before. We didn't know what was involved. And so none of us raised our concerns. And ultimately what they did is they went back probably 15 feet and they went up 2 stories and then punched out the roof. So there's a 3rd story. And so from the back of our house, their house comes out at least 20 feet up 2 stories. And it's really, really affected our enjoyment of our backyard and the light come into the house. We used to get the early morning light and now we don't get it till about noon. So I'm here to, I really regret that we hadn't gone through this process and now we're paying the consequences of having this large house beside us. So I'm here to support John and Heather at 50 Glenview because I don't want them to go through what we went through.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. That's a very short. Okay, any question for this speaker? No. Okay, Mr. Romano, can you come back, please address those concerns if you can?
Yes, thank you kindly for that, Mr. Chairman. So I'll just start with the last speaker and note for the committee that number 49 Glenview had a flat roof height variance, so completely flat roof, including a 3rd story, 9.6 meters. Totally different project. It was also a longer length, 22.16 meters. But it does have a floor space index of 0.55, and that is what's on the street. With respect to Terry Mills' comments, who is the second speaker for number 50 Glenview, he actually showed some houses which are in excess of what is being proposed, as well as one that had 0.55 floor space index. So really the deployment character that Mr. Mills had illustrated to us are similar to the photographs that I had submitted, and I know that staff probably haven't been able to pull that up, but there is a variety along the street. And the variety along the street is for 2- and 3-story houses, and the proposal is only for a 2-story house. It's a 2-story house that has side yard setbacks that are fully zoning bylaw compliant. They are 4 feet. The wall height of what is being proposed is 7.11 meters. That is 1.4 meters, well, 1.39 meters lower than what can be permitted as of right at that same side yard setback. So while there is a small length difference against number 50, 17.39 meters versus the 17 meters, it's still within the permitted depth, and it is mitigated by the zoning bylaw compliant side yard setback and the fact that the roof and the wall height are much lower than what the zoning bylaw would allow. So there is no unacceptable adverse impact, and this is not an oversized house for this lot. If 0.55 is across the street, 0.58 is across the street, 0.56 is on the same side of the street, 0.68 is across the street, 0.54 is across the street. In the immediate context, we have up to 0.68 floor space index. So the 3 variances that are before this panel do indeed respect and reinforce the character of the neighborhood, and there is no unacceptable adverse impact. And keep in mind, once again, I just want to point out that there are well over a dozen trees in the city boulevard, backyard along the side that are being protected by this design. So it is a very sympathetic design and it is suitable for the lot with no impact. So subject to any questions, Mr. Chairman, I appreciate the committee's attention to this file.
Okay, thank you, members. I need, if you have any questions, all we have here is 3 minor variances, forestry condition number 1, and that's all we have. So from what you heard, do you have a question?
Sorry, Mr. Chairman, there is a ravine. There's a ravine condition as well.
Staff, there is a ravine condition there? 37, I don't have it here. Forestry. RNFP, okay. Okay, condition from the ravine, RNFP. And Mr. Romano, thank you for reminding us there. Okay, any question? Any question, members? I'm not pushing you, it's only 8 o'clock soon. Okay, if no question, can I have a motion then, please? Yeah, Mr. Kidd, please go ahead. Make your motion.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I've listened to both the agent and the neighbors, and the neighbor's argument that this proposal is not within the existing physical character of the neighborhood. I find that problematic, and that the existing house is both longer and has a higher SFI than the existing property. It seems to be that you could argue that it's an improvement upon the existing condition, and I think that might explain partly why city planning staff has not expressed any concern with regard to this proposal. I'm going to put forward a motion to accept the proposal, subject to forestry condition number 1. And you said there was a ravine and natural feature condition as well?
Yes.
Yeah, I'd like to include that as well.
And that's one as well. Thank you. And second, Ms. Attarodi seconding.
I'll second it.
All in favor? Yeah, Ms. Attarodi second. All in favor? Unanimous. Okay. Sir, your application is unanimously approved, subject to forestry condition 1 and subject to RNP.
Thank you kindly. Enjoy your evening.
You're welcome. Okay, now the who's going to win the lottery here? The last one. Okay, Miss Sarah Efrah, are you there?
I'm here.
Okay, that's his application number 38551 Glengrove Avenue, and the registered applicant here is Sarah Efrah, and I don't have anybody else beside her. So could you please make a very short presentation, and hopefully we can move on.
Yeah. So this hearing was deferred previously due to transportation asking for a deferral. We did work everything out with transportation, and they were satisfied. There should be a new letter on file there. Further, we also have forestry approval for the tree at the rear. So nothing else has changed. We simply went through those motions of speaking with transportation and forestry. and both are okay now. In terms of the variances themselves, I can do a short presentation. I think some of this committee heard a bit of it before, but if the committee can pull up some of the supporting material, essentially what there was a 1990s below-grade garage house with some space in the roof. So my client wanted to clean up that space, that triggered a variance, and that's when I came on. So the variances there really do refer to existing conditions. So do you want me to kind of go through the variances, or do you want me to answer specific questions? I don't want to waste anyone's time. It's 7:30. We've got
Excuse me,
counselor
hold it,
support,
hold it,
neighbor
hold
support,
it.
transportation
Miss
support.
Ifrah, Miss Ifrah, we can't tell you what
Yes.
to do. You have 5 minutes, use it as you wish.
Okay, no problem. So the first two variances are essentially existing conditions. We're basically rebuilding some stairs and redoing the driveway. They're existing conditions. The variance number 3, again, has to do with the driveway transportation I did speak with. They're happy with 6 meters in the public right-of-way. Number 4 is the technical variance of 4 stories. We know this is not 4 stories. The basement is looked at as story 1. We're essentially just filling an existing roof with space, an existing space that was there already. Then comes variance number 5, and that refers to the platforms. Again, that's seen as platforms on a 2nd story because it's looked at it as a 4-story dwelling, being that the basement is the floor 1. Those are not platforms up in the air. That's an existing front porch. It's a new rear deck that's a small deck at the back. You can see from the drawing that's in front of you, the outline of the house is all exactly the same. The steps at the front and the little porch there at the back, you can see we've changed and are, wanting to rebuild. Variance number 6 is the front yard setback. Again, you can see the house stays exactly where it is. The front yard setback is triggered because underneath our new stairs, we have a garbage room. It's not seen from outside of the house. Again, the stairs are the exact same place as they were before, just being rebuilt. Variance number 7 is referring to those stairs. The 1990 plan had stairs that were 2.74 meters wide. We want to rebuild those like that. We're not changing anything or making anything wider. We're just looking to rebuild exactly what's there, just more structurally sound. Variance number 8. Again, it's a similar situation at the back there where we have a little bit that comes off where we exit from the breakfast room, but then it kind of pops out. So that's what that variance is referring to. The actual size of the porch back there is only 2.82 meters wide and about 2 meters deep. Variance number 9 refers to the height. We are not changing the height of this house. So if you slide down a little bit, you can see the 2 elevations next to each other, the existing elevation. Same thing goes for the coverage. Our coverage increases a little bit because of that garbage room. It doesn't affect anything in the 3D or on the outside of the house. And then variance number 12 and 13, again, refer to those platforms. We had to go for variances for them because they're above the quote-unquote 1st story. And then variance number 14 is under the old bylaw, and it's referring to that dormer. But again, when you look at the 2 elevations, they're very similar. It is a little deceiving looking at them in drawing. When you look at them in a photo, you actually don't see that dormer that needs to be further back. So if you kind of pull up some of the existing photos versus the photo that we sent of the most current condition, you can see that from the street, there really is no change to this house. They're all really quite technical variances. So that's the existing house and the existing steps and all that. And if you look, there was another photo sent a little bit later where it's the existing condition today. I'm not sure how you have it labeled in your files, but
Okay,
if you can pull that up, that'd be great.
Your time is
Yep.
Your time is up.
Yep.
So let's see if the members have any question. Members, any question? No question? Then can I have a motion then? Who wants to make a motion? Mr. Tarodi, please go ahead.
Yes, through you, Mr. Chair, I would like to put forward a motion to approve this application, subjected to, we have a transportation condition. I think so. It's dated,
My notes said transportation okay with conditions. So there's conditions, I guess.
March 24, 2023. Yes, subjected to transportation report.
Second, can I have second, please?
Excuse me, if I could, I think there's a forestry condition to that as well. Did I miss that? I'm not sure if you mentioned that, Ms.
Is there
Adderati.
a forestry there? I don't have it here.
No?
I do have it. Yes, we have a forestry. I just amend that one with the forestry condition.
Yeah, there is a forestry.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
I'll second that.
Thank you. All in favor? Opposed? Mr. Khan is opposing. Your application is approved, subject to transportation, and apparently there is also forestry. So,
Yes, for the front tree. Thank you.
yeah, so you're the last one here, and we have to go home now. So thanks for letting us go home. Have a nice day.
Thank you, everyone. Good night.
Yeah, I'm gonna have it.
Bye.
I'm gonna have it.
It's a motion to terminate
Yeah, motion to
at
terminate.
7:45.
Just a second. Motion terminate. Who wants to put the motion first? Mr. Khan, second. Mr. Tarodi, all in favor?
Sure.
Okay, thank you. It's all to terminate at this time, and if someone wants to stay here, stay here.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, yeah, 22-8. Thank you. This is